Just getting April PPI coming through here, 0.1% on the month-over-month number. 0.4 was expected there. Overall PPI month-over-month comes in negative 0.5, so 0.2 was the consensus to the upside. We get a negative print there, negative 0.4 on the core month-over-month April number there. Again, 0.1 was the expectation there, comes in downside to the tune of 0.4%. Initial jobless claims out there as well, 229,000 versus 220 expected. We also got retail sales, 0.1% to the upside versus a negative 0.1% print expected there. So the final inflation print of the week ahead of, we do get Michigan consumer sentiment tomorrow, but there's more to that. Market upside on that ever so slightly. Still down here for the morning, however, working on possibly breaking a 3-day winning streak here overall for the S&P 500. Man, oh man, lots of things to touch on this morning. Chart of the day goes to Foot Locker at this point, better part of 84% here to the upside. If you missed it, Dick's DKS taking out Foot Locker. Cash and stock, which is kind of interesting. So we'll see how this plays out throughout the day as far as price action is concerned. Lots of interesting headlines as far as individual movers goes. Tesla downside this morning, 2 or 3 days, just absolutely huge for Tesla to the upside. There's kind of a spin on the cyber cab and used Teslas that we'll touch on here coming up for Tesla. Elon at it once again. I mean, they quietly were basically taking back leases from people and then reselling those leased vehicles after he promised that those would just be added to the Cybercab fleet. Mm-hmm. Eventually, they wanted to have a couple million Cybercab. Anyways, they're not going to do that anymore. So I don't think this is a big deal whatsoever.
And he wasn't letting people buy back their leases, Brendo.
No.
They had this prohibition.
Exactly.
Like the only company that does that. Lots to talk about today.
But now you can, if anybody wants to. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, you still can't hear, though.
No.
In Canada.
No.
So UNH, guys. Down 8% here, being accused of Medicare fraud. So yet another saga, another page in the saga of this UNH drama that's unfolding before our eyes. Brendo, Walmart reporting, decent report, still negative on the day. Baba reporting as well, down 5%. Apple raising the ire of Donald Trump because they're building these iPhones in India. He doesn't want that. Cisco reporting as well, Brendo. Yeah. So did CoreWeave. Good look for both.
Yeah, I mean, is this a big deal for Apple? I don't know. It's trying to get back higher right now. Holding 210 right now for Apple. Here we go, actually just about to take out that last high there. So I don't know. I mean, of course they're going to move it to a place where it's a little bit cheaper for them. Just to recap here for anyone just joining a little late, April month over month, negative 0.5 on the PPI. 0.2 positive was expected there. So definite downside print. Core PPI month over month for April, again, negative 0.4% versus 0.1 positive print there. So both sides of the equation on the producer prices to the downside. Initial jobless claims higher. So we'll see how that plays out. Retail sales also basically in line with expectations. Really interesting on this Foot Locker deal, though. Happy Thursday, guys.
Well, happy Thursday because the market's going up. Happy Thursday if you're a Foot Locker shareholder or the person that bought options right before the deal was announced and made a bunch of money, but not happy for Leafs fans, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Bowling with
2 gutter balls.
Yeah, you're trying to hit the 8 ball. You guys can't see what Randy was aiming for with our delivery. But not a very good game for the Leafs.
No, very bad game for the Leafs.
No, we're not in Game 6.
Thank God we bet on the Florida Panthers. Man, what a disaster.
It wasn't.
Not a good one there. And he said the Blue Jays won at least.
Which I didn't even realize. I usually know the result of every J game by the morning, but
it was actually
the Leafs. It wasn't very competitive.
No. So they're down 3-2 now, and I was just saying it was like I was at the ballpark basically from 7 to 10:30, so I was pretty isolated from it, other than like getting updates. 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0.
Hold a goalie.
6-1 final.
Joe's certainly happy about it.
But Edmonton advanced.
Yeah,
Edmonton took care of, they were sort of the underdogs in that series, and they wound up beating Vegas. So that was nice. I wear my sunglasses at night. My name is Chilean Nightmare.
Comes in look like a rock star.
Chilean Nightmare. The guy comes in with this long hair, this sunglasses, he's wearing all black. Like, this guy's a rock star over there.
There it is.
The Chilean rock star, not the Chilean nightmare. Yeah, that was a good nickname, the Chilean nightmare. There he is. Oh yeah, see, look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy over here.
Brother.
Yeah, man, look at this. And Andre running the board over there.
Bad men over there.
What a team.
Don't mess around with our production.
Yeah, man. This team is much more elite than the Maple Leafs. All right, so I want to short Apple today, but I mean, this market's starting to go upside. So I don't know, we just had a nice little pop-ups up there. Apple not really going that far. So we'll see about that story. Just trying to find some negative stories just because of where the market's going right now. We had CoreWeave come out, which popped and dropped. So, there and now here. So you're right back to flat basically from yesterday's close on CoreWeave, right? And, it had a huge move up and then 6 or 7, basically 7% one way, 7% the other way. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening there. AMD's been on a run, obviously, the last couple of days, and we'll see if it can hold some of those tops that we had on. I mean, I don't know. We're not going to get back up there today, I don't think, $5 higher. But that was that share buyback program that was on board there for AMD, and then some good talk, obviously, over in the UAE. And then the story, again, with fraud, as Sharif had just mentioned. Stocks don't get down here for no reason, So we kept on saying there's many traders that were not just traders, I guess, swing traders maybe, and maybe investors that are starting to look at some of the prices when you start to think about, technical levels, weekly charts, things like that. But UNH right now is just another 7% down as we look at some fraud cases now. So not only has this team managed to bring the stock where it is, we got rid of the CEO, but that's pretty good. But you only came back to 2020 levels, right? And now today you're down here at 580 and so 280. So it's a pretty huge move down, but the growth that this has seen, it could get lower. This, I don't really look at the 200 on the monthly, but if we do, I mean, you're down into where we sort of clumped up last time, 250, 275-ish. And with UNH right now at 284, like I said, you don't get these prices for no reason. It's someone said yesterday with Meta dropping down and how it lost 7x or whatever, it was $500, went down to $100 there. Obviously there was things in the crosshairs as they were being examined, and the whole model of what they had there on social media was being questioned, and Instagram. So
but at least the market was going down when that was happening.
Well, I mean, we just went through the market's still down a little bit from the highs, but you're right, it's up on the year. Anyways, I'm just saying, it needs to get it corrected, and maybe now down another 7.5%. I mean, hand up, did anybody in the chat is actually short this thing? I mean,
well, maybe, I don't know.
I think there's probably more people long than short.
Oh yeah, we've got I think he was supposed to be 840, but I guess he's already donning the podium in his purple tie over there. Where's some blue for the main?
Then we better figure out what purple means again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Purple means flat market. Blue is bad.
Well, we hate blue. We clearly hate the color blue around here. So,
Yeah, why the hell are we wearing blue? We shouldn't be celebrating the Maple Leafs over here.
Real.
I told you it was Blue Jays.
But Toronto teams are all blue except for the Raptors. So
and the TFC, but
well, yeah, TFC. But
two of the four.
I mean, the big sports.
Yeah, big sports. All right, so all right.
CoreWeave is flying, by the way.
CoreWeave is starting to go now?
Yeah, the market, okay, well, it was at 68 a second ago. That was the one thing I wanted to come in with, because the market almost went green and bounced, but CoreWeave went back through 65, which is the prior high on the daily. So if it can if we can get to the open holding 65, that's a good over-under level. We always talk about the IPO, don't want to look at UNH too often, unless you want to get depressed, that initial IPO high. We mentioned this in the aftermarket show and the market recap. 65, this is what you got to hold on to today. If you can, then you're still intact. Obviously, they didn't know what to make of it at first because it was huge growth, and we'll get to it a little bit later, but there was huge growth on revenue, bigger than expected loss, and they're ridiculously reliant right now on one particular customer, which is Microsoft. So it's what do you make of that? And I think people are still trying to settle that one out.
I haven't opened up this app in a very long time, but Dick's Sporting Goods sees something that they like, and they paid double the price today for Foot Locker. So this is the business of Foot Locker over the last year.
Looks great.
Or even, this is a daily chart, correct? So nice move to the downside here on Foot Locker. Someone sees some value, Randy, and Dick's Sporting Goods, which is an amazing store, comes in and buys Foot Locker today. $24 in cash, I believe, isn't it?
Or, well, I think there's
some sort of enterprise value.
You can take Dick's shares if you want. So it's cash or stock.
You've been to Dick's Sporting Goods there,
I went
Randy?
to a Dick's Sporting Goods about 10 years ago in Virginia, of all places, and they had boats, they had ATVs, they had shoes, they had a basketball court in the store. Yeah.
Did you start dunking? Or?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, where's the end of this store? It was yeah. So the breadth of what they sell, I think this is a good acquisition. And we have Walmart numbers today.
Yeah, we got Walmart today. Walmart's not up huge, but they're up.
Yeah,
a couple
which is
percentage
solid.
points.
But Walmart has basically told us that prices are going up in a month.
Can't imagine why, but
Walmart is slightly down now.
Oh, now it's down? Okay, well, it was up before.
Yeah, it's flat-ish.
But it wasn't really moving much.
$96, a bottom of 70, bottom of 80. So here's Dick's Sporting Goods, obviously the acquirer going downside right there, so down 11%. It's never a good sign for the acquiring company on that particular day. But there it is. Wow, they don't like that acquisition.
11% is a lot.
Yeah, all the way back to the bottom there for Dick's Sporting Goods.
That's a lot.
Yeah, new deal. Yeah, congratulations. Anybody who owns Foot Locker shares. Of course, we loaded up on Foot Locker calls yesterday.
Somebody did.
Yeah, that
somebody always does, but you know how it is. Maybe they catch them, maybe they don't.
Yeah. All right. I'm getting like all these baseball chats going off right now. I wonder what's going on. Okay. So, yeah, there it is, man. Thanks to Trade the Pool. Thanks to everybody for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're going to get our notes out. We do have our watch list getting ready to rock and roll. It's already out, so you can go get that. Coinbase down 2.5%. You can see the Bitcoin down to 102.6 right now. 100
tests possibly coming in today. And remember, Coinbase, end of day tomorrow, getting the add into the S&P 500. So that exuberance hopefully can come back into it. We expect some action tomorrow, but there'll be action on it today. Don't like what we see in Bitcoin yet, but 100 still holding, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, it should be all right. All right, let's go back over. We'll keep our ear to the ground for Powell as well.
Yeah, I'm listening to his speech here, guys. He's talking very, very high-level macroeconomics. There's nothing significant as far as the market is concerned right now. As a result, we're just continuing to grind higher here. I did see, here anyways, Microsoft just popped up. Not really. Took out the highs, I guess. Day high alert there for Microsoft. That looks a little bit better. Still red on the day for Softy, though. A couple other things. We mentioned Walmart, Deere moving around here this morning as well. Also taking out the highs right now off their earnings report. Caterpillar not doing a heck of a lot on the back of that. There's a JP Morgan headline this morning as well. That's also kind of interesting. Also at day highs right now, investors seeking insight into tariff impacts and succession plans. They have their investor day coming up.
Yeah, Brendo, and I don't think we've seen the best for JP Morgan yet. We've been hearing a lot about deregulation in the financial industry, but he's too busy with the tariffs and the deals. I'm talking about Donald Trump. We're expecting high-level deregulation coming in Q3 or Q4 of this year. At least that's what's being talked about. So you've got to assume that JP Morgan benefits from this as well as the overall financial industry, Brendo. So taking out, what are we here, 266 or so? Not a bad look for JPM, but I think, you know, definitely look for the next, the end of the year for that big boost.
Yeah, quietly strong have the banks been. So he is talking right now about 2021 and what the FOMC did, guys, back in 2021. So nothing exciting.
Which is fine. I can live.
I mean,
with
does he ever talk about things that are super exciting? I mean,
no.
I guess maybe the day it's released, I guess, but most of these things are predetermined talk, right? But
yeah, exactly.
PPI came in. You know, we talked about that at 8:30 today. I'm just going to double check those numbers. Year over year, minus 2.4 versus minus 2.5. PPI month over month, minus 0.5 versus 0.2. So that really got, you know, the NASDAQ and, you know, looking at the TQs or anything like that, that really got the market going here because stagflation, some people have talked about it, but now with PPI, CPI all coming in lower, Philly Fed manufacturing -4 versus -11. So that's even a better number. And the market really respected that and started going back up to the upside right now. So yeah, man, maybe right now, a name that ran yesterday, Google, you know, trying to find where this value is going to be today. Google's up green in this market versus a red NASDAQ. So there could be something there. You know, if the consumer is fine, if jobs are fine, you know, we just talked about the inflationary pressures, then maybe Amazon can work out today as well. But then I call this up and it's down double what the market's down. So we're going to have to find out what the catalyst here for Amazon is, starting to go back down to the downside right now. But that was a huge gap as well, not on earnings, not on anything, just gapped up right there into 210, you know, beginning of this week when everything started going a little bit up there. But market's getting pretty frothy, in my opinion, at some of these levels. It's just been such a huge run to the upside that I could see some fading starting to happen now. So today, unfortunately, I'm going to be favoring... Sure. I mean, I got the Pepsi Blue on over here for Sharif over here, but have you guys seen...
Specifically Pepsi Blue.
Well, that's Sharif. That's one of Sharif's lines.
Oh, okay.
It's I think that's what you call a Pepsi Blue kind of thing. Or, yeah. So there you go, sir. You don't have to call me sir. What the hell's up with that? But okay, there it goes.
What's just
Good. Pepsi Blue, fine, sir. But there it goes. Anyways, huge move down for Pepsi stock right now as PepsiCo getting absolutely crushed as, you know, RFKJ worries about the color of Diet Pepsi and all this kind of stuff. As you can see, this move is right to the downside right now. So again, a fantastic franchise that if you think that some of this rhetoric that we've been seeing is a little over pushed, Pepsi down here definitely making waves.
So much better right now.
I was gonna say, like, I just wanted
on the daily for.
I wanted to look at both of them, like, wow, they're just. It doesn't even really make too much sense why Pepsi is all the way down lower than this, obviously, and Coke holding out. So maybe there's some value there. Maybe there's some sort of a
more exposure to
trade.
Snacks, the GLP thing. I don't know. Coke is more streamlined. That's what the analyst would tell you. But
yeah, it's the Frito-Lay. It's that side of it that people are not snacking as much. But the thing is those GLP drugs are still expensive, and it's not everybody can afford them. And a lot of the sort of the lower income, you know, consumer are the ones I think that are just usually, you know, buying those sort of cheaper kind of foods because unfortunately that's.
I think Pepsi's
cheap food could never really be healthy, I feel like, and unfortunate. I mean, especially when we start talking about immigration and things like that, because some of the workers that work in these fields, I mean, you got to pay them. Look at Boeing. Boeing workers had that huge strike. They got paid more money. Boeing's ripping upside. I think there is something to be said to hire the right employees and pay them what they're worth and get those planes
Boeing
out.
spent too much time cutting costs and cutting corners, and look what it did to the product. At some point, like there's... You know, the pendulum can always swing too far, and then it's got to swing the other direction. And Boeing hopefully they found the right mix. I don't want to jinx it because it's in the midst of a pretty good breakout. But as far as Pepsi and Coke go, Coke is rock solid in this move. But all of a sudden the market is turning around. There is a name. We'll get to some names because there are some weak names out there that you don't have to short things that were super strong. I'm going right back to the well with Intel, because they're back under the 200 pre-moving average, and they got slaughtered yesterday, despite the fact most of the chips were up. Let's go to Brendan, back to the desk.
Just quickly, guys, he's wrapped up his speech. It doesn't appear at this point, anyways, that there's going to be a Q&A. So at this point, I would say all clear as far as anything that Powell could present with us. We're going to jump over to Joseph now, talk some options.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. Hopefully everyone, has had a good week. If we pull up my screen here, we're going to do a little options talk and just the power of using these leverage derivatives, especially in times like these. And I have a specific name, and that is going to be NVDA. And what I really want to touch on is that when a company strikes a deal like this, I think that's a really, really big opportunity. So as you can see, the US and UAE have agreed to import 500,000 NVIDIA AI chips annually starting this year to aid the UAE's data center growth. Okay, so now how can we relate this to options, and how can we use these leverage products to take advantage of massive catalysts like this? So you can see that we've been on this massive run for an extended period of time now. We've broken that down channel and we've gapped up on multiple days here. Now, we don't want to be chasing necessarily, especially using these leverage products, because we can get some hefty pullbacks. And with that being said, you're going to feel it when using a product that is essentially 100 times larger than just one share. So what I want us to focus on here is that when we have a catalyst like this, I think it's extremely positive, but we also want to have the ability to leverage our systems, all right? So what I've done here is essentially what I'm thinking is, okay, so we wait for a potential pullback here in NVDA, but what I want us to focus on is the ability to take advantage of our options contracts using leaps, okay? So if I were to buy a June 18th, 2026 call, right? A June 18th, 2026 call at the current strike price of 132, that is going to cost me approximately $30, or in options terms, $3,000. Now, if I were to buy 100 shares of NVDA right now, it would cost me approximately 13,500 or 13,400 because we're trading at 134. Now, if we're going to take advantage of using these derivatives and these leverage products, that's why I specifically picked out that 130 call expiring June 18th, 2026. So what I want to focus on is just that if we're going to be looking forward-looking here in the market and in this name specifically, use these products, set your orders out. And then if you don't want to pay the current market price, set your out of the money option limit order out, and then you can wait for that pullback, and then eventually you will get filled. So now that, say, hypothetically, we get filled at our $134 strike price call, but the underlying is trading at 128, we've put our order significantly lower. Say, instead of $3,000, we put it at $2,500. Now, if the market decides to pull back further, because you can see that we've gone on off these lows, we've gone in a fairly decent run here, guys. Over, let's see, from a percentage metric, 56% from those lows here on NVDA. But what these leaps allow us to do is to also play the poor man's covered call strategy. So now that we own these contracts for the long term, they don't expire until a year from now. So we have the rights to these to this underlying at that specific strike price. But we can also, in any form of downturn in the next year, we can also start to write calls against that position. So you're essentially running an options wheel type strategy, but you're just setting your orders at the specific price that you want to pay from a premium standpoint. And then it also allows you to give you the ability to hedge those positions in any form of downturn. I think this is an extremely strong catalyst. Be patient, don't chase. We have the ability to manipulate contracts, and I think, in my opinion, that's how exactly we take advantage of these leverage derivatives, is we set our orders, we don't chase the market, and then we also have the ability to hedge our positions in longer durations. That is my options trade. I love the way NVDA has been trading. I'm not going to chase it up here anymore. I'm going to wait for that pullback. I have orders set, and then with that being said, if there's any more downside in that underlying asset, you have the ability to hedge by writing options and using that poor man's covered call strategy, guys.
Great insight as always from Joey Options there. That's what it's all about. And look, obviously NVIDIA is a name that a lot of people are going to be looking at today with the late day rally, with the all-day rally outside of the first half an hour, and then the late day rally as well. Unfortunately, giving up. And I know that's why Joe originally said 135, because that was such a key price all afternoon, and we've just topped out right there on NVIDIA. It's been such an incredible run from that bottom, and we haven't had like any kind of real hiccup since we broke away from that 120. It's been 2 days in a row. Usually the 3-day rule when you're looking for that bull run, the pullback, is a is another gap higher on that third day. But if you look at the run, it is the third day of a massive day up move, and you can throw Tesla in a similar bucket as well. It's not like it's just NVIDIA. But the thing that stands out to me, if we're going back to the chips, is the manner of the price action between different chip names yesterday. You can see what happened to NVIDIA on that gap up. It's as clear as day. It was trending up all day long. You can also then go over and look at what was going on in AMD, get rid of the trend lines from yesterday because we don't really need them. And AMD was trending outside of the open gap up on the buyback. It was just trading down the entire time. And the same thing happened over on Intel. That's why I'm a little bit more bearish on the names that were already showing as weakness. And I want to slip over to those to look for some of those shorts. I don't know, look, whatever. Like, I don't know if Intel gets to the lower high. I might be also looking at the 2150 level. But yeah, the chips are all, you got to put them into different buckets. They did not behave the same way yesterday. So when you look at AMD versus NVIDIA or Micron and Intel, each of them had their own characteristics that you're going to want to make sure you check out there. Let's see what the analysts think of some of these types of names with Adara.
We don't really have many of those types of names on the list today, though there is one we'll talk about. But Cisco getting upgraded here to start things off by Wells Fargo after their earnings report. Pretty strong report across the board. Pinterest getting upgraded by Wolf Research. JP Morgan with an upgrade from TD Cowen, though it's down on the day. TD Cowen upgrading another bank as well, Bank of America. The downgrade side of things, we get our one chip adjacent name of the day. That's going to be CoreWeave with a downgrade from D.A. Davidson. Dick's Sporting Goods getting downgraded by TD Cowen, of course, after the company announced its proposed acquisition of Foot Locker, which is gapping up today. Then we've got JetBlue with a downgrade from Raymond James. Last but not least, CrowdStrike, cybersecurity play. This one does also have some investigations on watch, ongoing story. We got a downgrade today from Mizuho, guys. Back to you.
No, I don't know. I don't think they got a downgrade too in addition to the Foot Locker deal, but you know, Dick's feels like 11% down feels a little bit heavy on this story for me here. So, first of all, I don't think Dick's is a day trading stock. I wouldn't put it into that bucket, but I think there's an opportunity. Usually, when an acquiring company gets hit, in this particular case, it's cash or stock. So there some shareholders of Foot Locker could easily elect to take Dick's shares. Given where Foot Locker was trading, anybody that bought it recently, I guess would be taking the cash in this portion. That would make the most sense to me. And it's trading more like the cash option with a little bit of strength this morning, whereas Dick's is down. So, but I think you do that whole 3-day rule again. And as long as we're holding into 170, I think there's a good short-term bounce opportunity here for Dick's Sporting Goods. Maybe the downgrade is related to something else that I'll read about. But if this is just about the deal, 11% seems a heck of a lot of punishment here in this name. So I think you let it settle for a couple of days. You have a good low from April in here. Retailers haven't been the best. So I understand that. I understand, of course, everyone thinking recession. It would be more along the lines of looking for a short-term bounce play from Dick's, as long as it can hold on to this in the next couple of days. Yeah, hefty. For it to be SSR seems a bit much.
Yeah, I like the upgrade there on JP Morgan. I mean, obviously, as this is one of the only names that I actually put a decent amount of money into near some of these lows. So we're really happy with this bump up. I got some out. I think I was telling you guys 15% or so out and in around 260 because the last time we saw this happen, we went from 230 up to there. We didn't get anything out. Then we had to suffer through tariff time and then all the way back to the upside. So yeah, JP Morgan next stop highs, right? All-time highs here for JP Morgan are within reach. So with their investor day or something coming up, Sharif was mentioning, nice move there for JP Morgan. Upgraded, so we definitely like that space. Banks really working in this environment, right? I mean, you just have to look at the XLF, and you'll be able to see, like, it's no matter which kind of bank you like, if you took the ETF anywhere, you know, we're still, I was just showing you JP Morgan all-time highs. I mean, you're getting close to the ETF as well. So they're all starting to work again. And yeah, if the economy is strong, then whatever, man, the bank should continue to work. But XLF down today, JP Morgan up. So relatively strong is that one. There was another bank on that list, and I like Goldman Sachs as the second runner-up. into this. If I could have two banks, it would be JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. And again, this one has a little bit more room to get up to the top 670, but another 10% away, and you're at all-time highs for Goldman, which had a huge move down, man. 680 down to 480, now back to 610. So really good recovery here in some of these banking names. And then today, some upgrades on the board there as well. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I like all of that. SoFi would be the name to watch if you're trading a little bit lower shares, not lower shares, but lower price stock, as this is starting to head back to the downside. And again, I always feel like when we're looking at some of these levels, it's like, okay, we just came right back up here again. So you're right back into this level, so it's time to come back down. I actually have today on the sticky note a similar kind of thing here with Uber, where we've been going high side right now, and it's starting to finally maybe have seen a top. I called that the doji star yesterday, and now today it's down another 1.28%. So it's premature to call it that on the day of, but it's starting to happen right now, back down in a little bit. Maybe time to lighten up on some Uber shares as well. We'll debate doing that myself, but that's another name I have as the short side on the sticky note, which will be out in 5 minutes. Back over to the desk, and let's go over the futures levels, I guess, with Sharif, and then we'll start doing the watch list.
All right, guys, getting passionate over here. 59.08, that's where we closed out yesterday on the ES June contract. We're well below that already, losing that 5,900 point area here to start the day, 58.86. So here's the deal. We kept rejecting, a few days ago, that 58.70 area. So if we really sell off here, our first level of support is going to be 58.70. If we keep losing, we're looking at that 50-point area, 58.50. If we can get back above 5,900, I don't want to say it's a blue sky setup, but we'll have a good amount of room. Let's say 59.30 as resistance.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you take a second, jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. Has everything you need to know on it. Every single morning before we come on at 8:30, shows up right in your inbox. Let's start with CoreWeave this morning. Initial reaction was nice. Quickly faded that, though, back to 64. We were kind of chopping around at that 64 early on this morning. This overall market move has this thing almost back to positive here, just 0.4.
All right, Brendo. Yeah, not a bad look here on revenue. Let's talk about how they did. $981 million in revenue. That's a 420% bump year over year, and also beating analyst expectations of 853. So it's a beat there. Earnings per share, more like loss per share. They were losing about $1.49 per share, and the net loss widened substantially. So they lost about $314 million. That's up substantially from the $129 they lost last year. They're also paying a lot of their employees using stock-based compensation here, $177 million, but that's probably a one-off event really tied to the IPO. Let's talk about their growth and their guidance numbers here, Brendo. Q2 revenue guidance, they're guiding 1.06 to 1.1 billion, well ahead of that 986.7 the street was looking for. Full year 2025 revenue outlook as well, 4.9 to 5.1 billion. That would be a bump of 363% year over year. But this is where it gets a little murky, Brendo. CapEx, 20 to 23 billion. So let's take their full year, $5.1 billion. That's what they make on the year. They're anteing up, though, 20 to 23 billion. Kind of hard to see how this is going to be profitable, but as you and I were talking about off camera, this is a good business for NVIDIA. Some of the key drivers here, OpenAI partnership. They signed basically a $12 billion 5-year deal in Q1. That's a $4 billion follow-up deal signed post Q1, and Microsoft as well accounted for about 62% of their 2024 revenue, and they have a substantial backlog. There's a lot of people that want to get their chips, and they're also trying to buy more chips. So not a bad business, just want to see some profitability.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some time, as we were saying. I mean, that like mid-tier business size that they don't even know what they're going to do with AI yet, or don't have a significant plan, or going to need this type of compute capacity at some point. CoreWeave, just about, hold your breath here, will probably be green in the next couple of minutes. It's worth noting, there was just reading this story on the PPI print this morning, if you were with us at 8:30. Biggest single downside print for PPI since COVID. So nothing. I think the market did like that back higher.
The market seems to like that, at least for now. The market didn't quite go green, but it made an attempt to. CoreWeave, as you mentioned, just wait a second and it'll be green. Yeah, because it's right here, and it's a good recovery off the lows. Clearly, as you can tell from what we were saying earlier in last night and what Sharif is telling you, that there's a lot for this business to figure out to get to profitability. They're spending a lot of money, and they need a lot of growth to get to that profitability spot. That said, we've seen companies that don't make money or have ridiculous multiples go ham before. So, you try to put that away and just sort of look at what's happening here. And what we have is, now this candle is reflective of the aftermarket move. So on the daily, so just kind of ignore that. The pre-high, that $65 level, that's where we were going into the top here 2 days ago. That's where support came in. So there's a nice zone, 65 to 67, where I think as long as you're holding on to that prior high, like that was made a couple of days after the IPO, you're on a bullish run. Once it loses that, you're in a failed breakout, and I think the pullback can be pretty severe. That's the level I'm looking to hold at the open. If it holds 65 at the open, that's the over-under spot for me. And it's bullish above and it's bearish underneath on CoreWeave. Again, I'm not a shareholder of it. You better really like something when you're getting in, when the business is figuring itself out. It's really easy to say I like Meta, or even when I liked Eli Lilly, it was easy to say. Like, they had some new emerging business, but they had a great pipeline and it was a solid company. So even though it was something that could go 4 or 5x, it was something that you feel pretty comfortable didn't have as much downside risk. CoreWeave, not really going to be a shareholder of that name.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, we talk about getting into some IPOs. I mean, this name had fallen back in, so I think you just got to use that same logic for all the IPOs. And if you like them, let them run up early, come back in, let them have their first report, and now we can see where CoreWeave sits, right? I mean, it was just a couple weeks ago that April 22nd, so less than a month ago, this was a $35 name. Now it's a $70 name. Like, is it worth a double from where we were just a month ago? I mean, now the picture's a little more clear. So if you like CoreWeave, I think you buy some right now, and you buy a little bit today, you buy a little bit next week, and you figure out where this stock is going to go, because we've seen a name like Reddit been bouncing around again, and this was a perfect example of what can happen where the momentum gets behind some of these names. And again, like, here's the IPO of Reddit. I mean, and if we had talked about this one down here at $46 and then it came into here 75, it's that same kind of play. But look, it still does fade out months later. So this is from March to July, makes that top, then comes back and makes a bottom again in August. So CoreWeave probably still will make a little bit of a jump here, up or down. Definitely the volatility is not done. Reddit pulling back. I think Reddit you can actually buy right now at some of these levels, as it looks like it's trying to base out as well. I really like Reddit, man. Huge opportunity here in North America, but they don't have much in Europe right now. So I think that if they can get that expansion going, Reddit, I think, will continue to work. And again, a big AI play too, as they're signing deals with OpenAI and many of the large language models to use their data, right? Reddit is still one of the better resources to go to for self-help and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of answers, like if I, query which bat to buy my daughter or something like that, they'll search different forums and get better answers than just AI-generated garbage text, which you get a lot of the time, right? So, yeah, man, I really like Reddit down here as well. And I know we're talking about CoreWeave. I don't know if I like the business or not, but I mean, I think it does pin a little bit of downside there to some of the chip names, because their business is still relatively strong. So as long as that keeps on going, I think NVIDIA and the likes of it will continue to work as well. So CoreWeave, a new business that I'm not really super excited about, but some people are.
Let's keep going. 2.8% here for Cisco this morning on a decent report. It's worth noting it did come in pretty hard there at 8:30 after making a new high off that aftermarket close level yesterday. But pretty good right across the board. I mean, guidance a little bit questionable, but that was about it.
Yeah, there was a couple of questionable parts here. But the actual report, Brendo, for Q3, handily beat here. Revenue, EPS adjusted 96 pennies. The street was looking for 92. Revenue of 14.15 billion. The street wanted 14.08. So a beat on the top and bottom line. Revenue as well grew 11% year over year, with net income, their take-home money, just shy of $2.5 billion. Compare that to last year when they were just shy of 1.9. Not a bad look. EPS for their guide. They're guiding 96 to 98 pennies. The street was looking for 95, so a beat there. Revenue 14.5 to 14.7, which is decent here. The street was expecting 14.58, so the midpoint at or just a little bit higher. And the CEO, Chuck Robbins, confirmed that Trump's new tariffs, 30% on China and 25% on Canada and Mexico, were factored already into the guidance, so we needn't adjust that. He also noted no signs of customer slowdown or a beat there, but this is where they missed. Security revenue, they printed $2.01 billion, which was a 54, believe it or not, % year-over-year increase, but that missed the street's expectations, a lofty $2.17 billion. And last but not least, AI infrastructure orders, web companies, $600 million this quarter. Brendo, that's what they're expecting.
Yeah, we are. If you go to a daily chart, we are finally clearing a significant level, the last kind of line in the sand here from the move down. So we're gapping above that this morning, 63, but 62 it was struggling with here the past couple of days.
Maybe the resurgence has come back here. I was saying in the post-market show, or the market recap, this is the only one of the four horsemen that has never been a part of my personal portfolio. And it's probably going to stay that way. I'm not really looking at this for a trade today, but I think, as Brendan mentioned, anytime you have, and there's a few stocks that have this same look, where you had this April resistance, where everything fell apart, and you want to try to bounce off that. So I think if you're looking at this today, 62 would be your kind of line in the sand for dip buys if you want to play it in the direction of the earnings. As I said, the one of these names that I'm looking at is, just because Intel was one of the four horsemen, I'll mention it here, Oracle and Microsoft. The others, I'm dating myself by even saying that, but distinctly different from the rest of the market yesterday, which leads me to want to be short this name. So we're going to try and grab it. I'm sitting here, you know what, that's way too far. When it looked like maybe we'd be trending up on that number, I'm thinking, yeah, we can go into the 2180 where the resistance was before, but I'm thinking 21.5 is the other spot. In the prior day close, it's already been resistance to support before. Let's see if it can do it again, and if it loses that level, then I like the 2180 for a short. So I'm not going to be trading Cisco, but it's a good look. It's actually a pretty solid run for that company. I think a lot of people have forgotten about that. Everyone keeps saying, oh, NVIDIA is the next Cisco because of what Cisco did in the .com bubble burst. It's good to see it recover.
All right, I mean, beating everywhere, beating on the forward guide as well. I like Cisco. I think up today, was up higher, kind of just fading out a little bit, trying to watch out for the market. I mean, the market dips here. Cisco dips a little bit, market comes back, market trying to figure it out. So I feel like this is going to be a safe name today, and I think this is a long around. I like to see it around 62 just to hold something, because if you look at yesterday's sort of levels, 62 is where we started the day, and then we dropped off there. I don't know if people were a little nervous about earnings or whatever was happening yesterday because the NASDAQ was green. But then earnings came out and we popped, right? And so definitely some overhang over here around 63.50, but that would be nice if you got up to there today, pushing this thing up about 4% or so. So yeah, I think down into 62 is a level here, maybe a little bit earlier than that, 62, like the tops here. Because if you just go back a couple of days, we've already been here. It's not like this is an absolute rocket. It hasn't done anything for a minute. Like, I don't know, just looking back at where Cisco's been, there's the level that we like. So a little bit of a pullback into that. I take that back. It's actually starting to trend a little bit higher there. 58 up to 63. That's a nice little week there for sure. So even without the earnings, maybe, you know, if it was a bad report, you would have fallen a lot more than we had gone up. But the report was good. And if you're trying to buy good companies, they sort of solidified now with a better than expected guide and a better than expected last quarter. I mean, it should be a winner unless management has no idea, you know, what they're looking at. And I believe that that's not the case. So again, a well-positioned company there. We talked about PanW and some of the, you know, safety that people are looking at with, you know, web and all this crypto and just everything like that. Cisco there, you know, with the routers and with the internet safety. I like it. I like the space here. PanW, CrowdStrike, Cisco, some of the cybersecurity names seem to be working out right now. I like Cisco down here, but I'd prefer it at 62. Maybe I should have added that to the sticky note, but we'll wait. We'll keep it on the side note and see what it does.
All right, let's go to Coinbase. Pulling back here after 2 days to the upside. Huge moves past couple days. 2.3%. Crazy story here involving this potential, I guess, cybersecurity threat. Nothing ever really comes of it, it seems. But they received this random email wanting $20 million. And I mean, long story short, no data was breached, it seemed. No customer information was disclosed or given out to anyone. But they asked for $20 million, and Brian Armstrong turns around and says, there's a $20 million bounty on anyone who finds these people. So
yeah, I love that
good move.
I love that move, Brendo. I mean, look, you're gonna ante up the money. You might as well give it and catch the people. So I like the move. So Coinbase did suffer a major cyber attack, guys, exposing internal data and some customer information. The extortion attempt involved a $20 million ransom, which Coinbase refused. According to some estimates here, the financial impact could range from about $180 to $400 million. I know that is a wide margin, but that is what's being reported. The criminal bribed, this is how they did it. The criminals bribed foreign support contractors to gain access. And some of the data that includes names, addresses, phone numbers, but a lot of masked information. So Social Security was masked, so were the bank information, so were the government IDs, some account details. There was no access, though, gained to passwords, two-factor authentication codes, passkeys, or customer funds. So they were able to protect all that because that was all on a different database. The response and the recovery here, obviously law enforcement involved. Coinbase terminated the contracts with those compromised contractors. They're also launching a new US-based support hub, and they're upgrading monitoring for high-risk transactions and insider threats, which is exactly how this happened. And here's the kicker. This is what we're talking about, offering a $20 million reward for information leading to the attackers and the arrest and conviction. And they're committed, Brendo, to reimbursing any impacted users here, including victims of scams impersonators.
Yeah, as we said, though, it looks like things are a little bit under control.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out. But 2.4%, I mean, the market clearly thinking that this isn't as bad as it potentially could have been after a couple of really good days, guys, for Coin.
Yeah, and of course, we'll see what happens tomorrow at the close. So hopefully it's a great trade for everybody. But we do know that oftentimes when you get added to the index, you get the bump, and there's this kind of a sell the news type of event. Now, sometimes that waits until after you've been added to the index, but we've seen at least a couple times in the last year where it happens before. The thing I'll be focused on is not necessarily Coinbase, but I think when you look at the 251 to 52 area on this little bull flag, you might also be looking at IBIT, which I will be, 400K to 101 on the dip, because Bitcoin, hasn't been as strong as you would have liked to see in the last couple of days, and we fell back in and retested, 101.5. We're bouncing from it now, but we're back underneath the 103, which was a good support level. And as long as we hold underneath 103, I'm thinking we can retest the 100 to 101. It's around 57 on IBIT, but the approach the last couple of days has just been, when IBIT makes a trend down, I can get rid of the one that we've already used, just play the trend break when it goes into support. So before I like 58.5, but now I'm liking that 100 to 101 zone, which is in around 56.5 to 57 on IBIT. So until we dip down into there, I'm going to be hands off on crypto.
Yeah, so Coinbase, I would sort of take these stories for not worth that much. I mean, if they're getting down because of a hack and stuff like that, I think that's something that, especially when they're saying that there was really no damage done, I'm not too worried about that. I mean, that shows that they do have pretty decent security, I guess, if no information was able to get out. And I don't know, they're a huge market cap company, and I believe that they're going to be able to figure all of that out. I like this down at the 200 period moving average. So you get that little bit of a false bump there because of the addition into the S&P 500, but it's going to pull back. And when it does, I think that's a good buying opportunity. You gotta make plays sometimes. And I think if you grab the 200 to 220 play there on Coinbase, I think it does have some upside. They had a good earnings report. We've seen names like Robinhood just taking out WonderFi. We had Kevin O'Leary on yesterday to talk about that. I think Coinbase continues to work. This space is really just getting started. I mean, I know Bitcoin's been around for 14 or 15 years, but the crypto space and some of the ideas and some of the acceptance of it all now starting to become a thing. And if Coinbase can sort of turn into the Robinhood, where maybe they do, like we were talking about yesterday, allowing easier transfer of these coins, payments. We talked about Mr. Westermeyer over there taking some different coins as payments for real estate transactions and this and that. Like, I just feel like Coinbase, if people are going to start to do it, I mean, we can even ask, like, we did this before. There's only like 20 or 30% of our viewers were even invested in crypto. So if that space becomes more mainstream, like that's our audience is 20 or 30%. And
Which has got to be a higher percentage, has to be.
Right, and so the mainstream is much lower than that. Like mainstream is not even close to like you guys, I would think, because we're all in that realm. We talk about this every day. So anyways, I just think Coinbase, again, proof of concept. They seem to be doing it. They had a good report. I like the stock. I just think it's a little bit bumpy right here because of some of the news surrounding the addition. And then obviously today you get that story. So we'll just wait for it to come back in a little bit, but we really like Coinbase. You had to wait for Robinhood. That happened and it was fantastic. So I think Coinbase can win just the same.
Man, that's crazy. We're just talking about Tesla here. Let's keep going. Tesla's trying to roll over a little bit right now, 2% to the downside already, trying to test this 340. But yeah, 350 billion in market cap added back to Tesla. It's up more than 50% off the April low. I mean, there's this story this morning on the cybercab angle. If you go back far enough, Tesla, essentially Elon, essentially came out and said no one was allowed to buy leased cars at the end of the lease because he wanted them for cybercabs and was going to add them to the millions of cybercabs fleet that they were going to have on the road. But he quietly then, between then and now, has been flipping them for a profit.
And he's been upgrading them, Brendo, to make them more attractive. So he did actually give them software updates to increase the resale value. Obviously, the lease buyout policy reversal follows declining demand, let's just call a spade, for used Teslas. And the reason they did this whole you can't buy a car at the end of the lease was because it was during the pandemic and there were obvious shortages, so they wanted to have some inventory to sell back to customers. Obviously, that's no longer the case, being with the supply chain back in full effect. So Tesla here, fantastic triple bottom here, though. I got to see this, Brent. I got to show this. $220 got tested multiple times. I'm sure the boys will look at this March 11th as well here in mid-April, and yet again towards the end of April, holding that level like a glove.
Yeah, just a crazy, crazy move all the way back to 340 here, guys, for Tesla.
Absolutely a crazy move, that quad bottom. But, you know, yesterday it ran off that 3. So you go to Tuesday's high and then yesterday's lows, and you get where the support was. I think that's what you're testing in here today. Now, we did say one way or another in the afternoon, this is how the market works. One way or another, we're not going to be at 350 to trade that level at the open. Because typically when you have a big hard wall like that everyone's waiting for a breakout, either it gaps above it the next day or it gaps underneath it. In this case, we've gapped underneath. So, you know, to tell you that 350 is an area of interest doesn't really mean anything, but 337, 36 to 37 is the over-under area. If it holds 336, 37, for me, that's where you dip buy into, I think 350 is going to be a wall again. But you lose that, I think we have some potential downside risk. So that's the only spot for me. If anything, underneath there, it'd have to be a lot lower, I would think. And I think that gets tested pretty much right away on Tesla. It's relatively weak. Oddly enough, the other name that I'm looking short those on note today is the same level from yesterday on Apple, which I don't even think we get to anymore. It's like 214 to 15 if you zoom out the daily chart. In here, this is one of the Mag 7 names that has not actually broken out yet. Still want it to break. I'd love for it to break 215, but until it does, it's a short into that level. But Tesla, yeah, that 36 to 37, it's the only spot I'll look for that long.
Look, I wish I had recommended more than putting in 10% of your portfolio or whatever you're looking for on Tesla down here at 231. But those of you that did that are now in the money $100. And it's been a great run, right? I mean, the thing is that there's absolutely nobody that when Tesla was doing this, you know, I don't know, nobody, even myself, like nobody around here was thinking Tesla was going up, that's for sure. So even when it was down here, everybody was saying 180, 160, 140. And when you get talk like that, this is what can happen. So now I'm hearing people almost the other way around thinking like, oh my gosh, like how high are we going now? And I think that creates a little bit of a pullback scenario again. There's 360 right here, 362, 363. So again, I thought it was worth the risk down here to go long. That seemed to have been right. And I think it's lining up to be a little bit of a short here at these levels until we take 360. So I'm not super excited. I mean, I still like the name. We traded it yesterday. It was a huge trade yesterday. We were back and forth with this name. We had 318s long 2 days ago. It continues to be good, right? So I like Tesla. We had this 345 last night into the close, which was a great trade. Tesla continues to give you amazing setups every single day. But for the daily chart, for me, it's a sell. And because Neil just mentioned Apple there as well, Apple is my #1 trade idea as well today. And it's a little bit more aggressive than that 214 or 215 or so area. I'm here at 211 on Apple today. So there it is, man, 211 short. We say good luck right here as well. But there it is, 211 short. Trump talking down India a little bit here. What do we expect from Apple? What are they going to do? We'll see today. Beating the market, double to the downside right now. I'm shorting Apple almost immediately. This is 211 to 211.50. Up to 212 would be fine as well. So let's not get too excited too early, but I do want to short Apple here today. A little nervous because the market's above VWAP right now, but I feel like that's par for the course. So with the imbalances coming out, we'll just wait to see where they go. And they're out now, so we can have a quick look to see what Apple's doing. Rivian, wow, with a big sell for Rivian. What is up with that? That's a big one. We don't see that too often. 3.7 million in Rivian now pumping through lots of volume. Look at the level 2. Look at the time in sales right now for Rivian, starting to go bump in the night a little bit on that sell side. Alibaba, we haven't talked about that yet today, which is crazy. Like, that should be on the list more than Coinbase, but it's not. But anyways, there's Alibaba downside as well. UNH some downside today. TSLA selling, so we'll have to wait to see what that does to all of these stocks. And there's iBit. There's Apple with a buy. So Apple's starting to get right into that 211 spot right now. So this is why you got to be a little careful here off the open. We'll wait to see where it goes. Apple now, which was relatively weak, double, starting to come back in a little bit here against the market. So nice upside play there for Apple. We're still watching out for that 211.50. Let's go talk about UNH.
Real quick, downside once again this morning on this investigation headline to the tune of almost 10%. That is a terrible looking daily chart that continues to leak here. We're all the way back to 280. Couldn't even hold $300.
This is ugly. All right, guys, here's the deal. U.S. Department of Justice, Brendo, has launched a criminal investigation into United Health Group's Medicare Advantage business, specifically here, the Medicare Advantage business. The DOJ's healthcare fraud unit is overseeing the probe. United Health said it has not been notified by the DOJ, and it's denying all wrongdoings, standing by the integrity of what it calls its Medicare program. The background here is the probe has reportedly been active since summer of 2024. Reports to Wall Street Journal. Should be noted here that UNH responded to the Wall Street Journal report, calling it, not good. And anyway, in February, the Department of Justice also launched a civil fraud investigation into the Medicare billing practices, and Senator Chuck Grassley, he began a separate inquiry into UNH's compliance and billing oversight. And Medicare Advantage here is under fire because the DOJ just recently sued 3 different insurers for alleged kickbacks to brokers to steer patients into their Medicare Advantage plans. And Medicare Advantage actually covers about 50% of the 65 million Medicare recipients, and private insurers, they get paid more, Brendo, for sicker patients, so it incentivizes this aggressive diagnostic coding.
It just keeps going. This stock can't get out of its own way. We're trying to bounce right now at day lows here, guys, for UNH.
Just very quickly, we have 2 minutes to go. Like UNH, I don't know where the bottom is going to be on this thing. We've said, let's stop trying to guess at the bottom, and then more bad news comes out that fundamentally is not good, this fraud case, because that affects revenue. So whether or not it can even bounce off 280 and underneath that, you've got 40 and then 220. I think you're waiting for a couple of days where this can actually settle down to do anything big. Alibaba down 5%. We didn't really mention it. It's nuts. It's Alibaba, right? I mean, come on. I like Alibaba.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's already tanking. All right, yeah, so Baba's already tanking's the wrong word. We're back at the lows here. I was just looking at notes, and I liked 129.5 into 134 fade, but Alibaba has already dropped $2 into some market strength. I think this one's worth watching, and the other thing to keep in mind, Baba could lose the 50 period here today. 125, a big level. I wouldn't short on a breakdown of this stock, but certainly looks like a solid opportunity if it does lose that bid to head much further down. I don't think we see that 130 unless something crazy happens at the open. Just to check back, I know Rivian had that crazy move. I'm going to throw to Sean. Rivian's already back to where it was before. Big sell imbalance, and it's right back up at the highs on Rivian, and it's paired off that imbalance. So the big sell imbalance that got paired off on Rivian, it's back to where it was.
All right, so things are starting to go right now. We only have a minute left. I'm into a new position, our first position right here. So let's go, wake up. We're short Uber right here at $90.25. This was another name that we had written down here on our sticky note for Uber, between 90 to 90.50. So it's here right now. So we'll go halfway. We're short at 20, not 25s. We're short right here. It's printed. We got some shares, so we're now short Uber. Not going to be huge. We are bidding a little bit lower. Maybe off the open, we do get a crank a little bit lower than that right now. I mean, we could probably take right now 20 cents if we wanted it, but let's just wait to see what Uber does. Here today, we could be dead wrong on this one. Apple also with only 10 seconds left, that's starting to get back upside. So we're waiting for 211.25 right now just to take an early position, but we don't want to get caught too early in some of these trades because we don't know where the market's going in 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Adara. So we get Apple immediately right now, which means it's probably no good, but we'll wait to see. Let's see if we can take 25 cents on a little bit if it comes back into 211, but we're short this. We're also short Uber. 2 positions to start the day, short Apple, short Uber, 2 names that are on my watch list. So let's go. Let's see what winds up happening now. The market pulling back just a little bit. We'll see if we can take an early take there on Apple. I'm bidding 211 flat. If it comes down, great, and then we'll wait to see for a lower take on this one. We're wrong for sure at 212.50, I guess.
That's the first level that I'm sitting at on Apple, coincidentally. CoreWeave just dropped $3 in one candle here off the open, off the $70 level. Looks like it's trying to, 65 is the over-under level for me, so if it holds on at 65, that's the only place I want to look dip by. Tesla's already fading. Intel didn't even pop. It looks like they canceled the old order. I want to sit here at 45, see if it comes to the upside, but right now it's not going anywhere on Intel. Apple is coming into the aftermarket high, so whoops, there we go. We'll see if we can't get that one to come in. Want to play this off every resistance till we get to 215, and then the aforementioned Alibaba, which we were just looking at, they reported earnings. Yeah, there it goes. Alibaba's already tanking. It just dropped another $2 on Alibaba. Wow, this is really cranking to the upside.
Okay, so yeah, Uber, I mean, things are starting to go upside right now. So we already have a target to get stopped out if Apple continues to go a little bit more than this. Our stop out's going to be $91 on Uber. So again, we're just trying to we're just trying to figure this out. I mean, the market's still early. Obviously, it's 9:31. So we don't want to layer into anything and get run over off the jump. So let's just wait. We had written down short. Right now, no shorts are printing. So we're going to have to wait. The Nasdaq's trying to go back upside. Remember, a good PPI number and Philly Fed, I think, was better, or whatever that Philly manufacturing, I don't know what it was, but better than expected. Starting the market with this rally. We did have an early pullback, but we're still looking at that high of 21.30 right now. And if the market wants to go, then it's nothing we could do about it. So Uber stopping out if it breaks through 91. I'm pretty confident with that one. And then we'll just regroup if that is what happens. So we're now short Uber right here as we're starting to go, man. There goes Apple. We're short at 211.50. I mean, this is a trade that we wanted, but again, probably a little bit too early for everything. So we're learning our lessons. Like, we're not just going to layer into these stocks and put on max amount of risks or something like that this early because, hey, the market is its own little beast here. There goes Uber. So again, we'll slap the fail on it. Probably, better time to wait than right now for just jumping into some of these trades. But Uber, again, I like the stock for sure, but now it's green. It was red when we were talking about short. What an upside move there for Uber. I won't be that disappointed getting stopped out. It's not a huge, wasn't a huge position. More just working with this Apple now.
Yeah, I just got into Apple for the first time here today. It tagged 12. It broke the 12 level underneath what was the afternoon resistance. It was right at the close yesterday when it made that high. So that's the first
come back down.
It needs to get back down here. First test is going to be that $0.50 on the way back in. The other thing is, quickly, I'm going to bid in front of 211.50. Alibaba just broke another. It's now 7% down. All right. There's no chase here. Like, I'm not chasing this. This is ridiculous. Maybe it pops into VWAP or something like that happens on Alibaba, but it's absolutely flushing here, down 7% on Alibaba. That's even more. I didn't think it would be that bad on BABA, but yeah, if you're looking to pick it up, I'm not, but I might consider if it goes 10% down an SSR bounce. Alibaba's the exact kind of name that I like an SSR bounce on because it's incredibly liquid. It's trickier in those other ones like the CrowdStrikes and the, I guess for lack of a better, UNH.
Yeah.
But on an Alibaba, it's a different beast when that thing gets down, if that thing gets down 10%.
All right, we should be shorting the market a little bit right now if possible, so we'll get into some cues right now, going down to the downside. Come on, Apple, let's go, man. We've got a decent position on that is for sure right now. So let's wait to see if it goes. We did take, oh, sorry, that's still the TQs. All right, so we can watch out for Apple. Apple's not doing too much, just doing this right now. So we took a little bit out there at 60s, and now we'll wait to see where this fall goes here for Apple. But we're in the TQs. I was actually trying to get something a little closer to 70. We wrote down 70 to 70, 50. But I mean, the market right now is ripping. So we got to be very, very careful. We don't want to be short the market and NASDAQ all at the same, or sorry, and Apple all at the same time. But all right, we're starting to go upside right now. Apple definitely bouncing off of that 50 level for now. Let's go over Coinbase, also tanking, by the way, but let's go find out what Adair is up to.
UNH hit.
I'm just seeing here, excuse me, on X, apparently India is reportedly working with the U.S. in a joint statement on trade. So yeah, that's according to India's trade secretary. So India's trade secretary commenting that apparently India and U.S. are working together in direction of a joint statement on trade. Unclear when this is going to happen or what the results are going to be, but apparently working towards a joint trade statement, India and the U.S. UNH down really badly here, guys. Back to you.
On Apple, go. Thank you, Adair. Yeah, UNH is absolutely crushed. We're down.
Insane.
We're shorting the cues right now. Hopefully, this can get to the downside. Short just a little bit here underneath 70. Come on, Apple, man. This could be the day. A great trade here for Apple. Again, let's just wait to see where we go. Come on, Apple, get down, man. We've got a position on, that's for sure. Come on, AAPL. We have like 2 or 3 units on. We'll wait to see where it goes. If it breaks 212, then we're out. I mean, the market seems to be pretty weak now, and Apple's actually not even going down, so maybe a bad call on that one. But never fear, because the money is here, and it's on the futures. Big call right now. Let's get to the downside on the future. Sometimes I don't even know why I'm messing around with stocks. Oh, yeah, because it's working. But here goes TQQ to the downside. Let's go. Let's see if we can get this. Again, we marked down this trade. We like it, and now it's starting to go downside. So let's go on the NASDAQ. Nice trade right there on the TQs, right? Hit that high, get that low. Now let's get low, especially you, Apple. You got to get a lot lower than where you are right now as well for your boy, but it doesn't look like it wants to do that. Maybe Apple's stronger than I thought.
Well, the market's holding up pretty decently, but we did just wick the high. So anything that wicked the top, I'm going to like it. We like Intel to the short side, wick above the prior high. So we go into the short. We'll play it into the volume-weighted average price for now. I don't know if we showed you guys this on UNH, but yeah. So right back to lows. I was telling you, it bounced off 260 and was at like 65, 66 almost instantly, right back into the lows. This is absolutely bleeding right now. This is why we kept telling people, do not try to guess at where the bottom on this thing is going to be. That short is insane. All right, so Intel coming into the lows. It needs to break, hold underneath the quarters, and then work into what was a wall at 2120. Right now, the stop is above the 35, so we're risking about 4 or 5 cents on this bad boy. And CoreWeave, nothing doing for me, nothing doing on Alibaba either. It's just these 2 names to the south side. And, well, Intel's been doing better than Apple, because Apple's right back.
Apple's ripping
into that 212. Apple's just strong today.
Yeah, I had to get out of it. Again, like,
almost.
You know, this is the thing, like, you know.
Reggie.
Yeah, exactly. So there it goes, man. I have, again, like, I can't hold through that level. So no matter what Apple winds up doing here, I'm out of that one. As it's just going upside. Wrong call on that. We thought that it was going to be a short today. It was not. There goes Apple. So we'll go 1 for 2. Down on Apple here, making more. Sorry, we actually lost on Uber as well. Uber's kind of just hovering around this level, though. Maybe that is a decent short. It's the NASDAQ right now that's pumping shorter, and we like that call for sure. So yeah, Apple definitely wrong on that one. We're fine. We'll take our medicine on that, and yeah, look for for something else. You know what's really tanking here is Google. Google, huge move up to 167 in the pre-market, just absolutely falling down like a rock right now into 164.50. Good move there for Google. Downside, and then that UNH, before we go over to Adara, it's even lower than it was earlier. So UNH absolutely dead right now. The market getting hit on, probably the Dow getting crushed now as well. But there we go, the TQ's downside. What's up, Adara?
UNH struggling here, to put it mildly, but keep an eye on NKE. I'm seeing comments here coming from Dick's. Of course, Dick's Sporting Goods is the company that is acquiring Foot Locker. Apparently, Dick's saying that they believe Nike's business will grow at Foot Locker. So NKE getting a nice little push to the upside. This one is at day's highs. NKE potentially benefiting here from this Dick's Foot Locker deal. Back to you.
Yeah, okay, that makes some sense. All right, so I'm gonna try Apple against that high. Sure, it looks like I'm being stubborn because I kind of am, but we reshorted it again, and it's so far it's printing right now. So we'll do that. We'll get back into it again. But yeah, I don't know. We just took a oh, we didn't even. Oh, sorry, that's the TQs. That's tanking. Hopefully, here comes Apple. Let's go, Apple. So we have the short back again. Same kind of shares, but just trying to absorb some of this now. So I'm gonna bid some O's here. Let's get down, man. This could be a big trade, but I don't know. We were in it early. It was a loser. So now we're just trying to lick those wounds, as we say again. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what we're doing right now. Let's go. Come on, Apple. Get to the downside, man, and we're getting excited now. We've got the futures starting to go down near the lows again on the TQQs. So, hey, man, we're here to trade, but we got to make the right ones. Apple right now. Let's go. Making that money back on Apple. I see you're into CoreWeave. How's that going?
Well, CoreWeave just broke 65, hit 64. We're in here at 80s. Let's see if we can break that low. That I'll zoom out so you can sort of see some of the levels from yesterday, because we're underneath yesterday's lows with a break of 64 even on CoreWeave. Now remember, these guys made they get 400% growth in revenue and then lost money. So everyone's trying to figure out how to price this business. I just thought 65 over under. So when it broke 65, came back and rejected the 65 underneath. We just scalped some out there. Intel's okay, but it's still holding at the volume-weighted average price, at least for now on Intel. But Apple got me out. I tried to get back in, but I'm not chasing the move down here. You had to grab it right away back through the 212 level, and CoreWeave came into play for me almost instantaneously. I still have eyeballs on Alibaba, but not for the reasons that we did before, because, whoops. Oh, okay, now it's not going to load. There we go. I wanted to look for that SSR bounce. It might not get there anymore. I don't know what's going on, why it's over here, but decent bounce off 124. The only other place I want to short this would be at the volume-weighted average price. So I'm either waiting for VWAP on BABA, or we're looking for an SSR bounce. Would have to get 10% down for that to come into play.
All right, let's go. Come on, Apple, man. You just touched into the low 60s. We're now bidding mid 60s. Maybe we can get that for 50 cents in the money again as we make back. We're not making it all back yet that we wound up losing on Apple, but we got right back in there after we saw that top little tick there. So far, so good on that one. Obviously, the futures continue to go lower, and yes, Apple, as we get that trade over there. So, yeah, a little bit of a tough one so far this morning for that name, man. Let's go back over to the healthcare stock that we all wonder about. UNH makes that bottom at 255. I still think it's a little bit too much for me to be looking at this, but yeah, nice little move higher now, basing out down in around 258, 257. First big green candle happening right there on some relief. I would still say you're looking short. Come on, Apple. You're still looking short against that 270. That could be something. Another name that we had looked at before was also AMZN. We had put it down as the short, but unfortunately the market just kept going even before the market opened, and then Amazon got clocked right back. Yes, Apple. Yes, Apple. Boom! That's what we're doing, Neil. There it goes. Nice move to the downside there for Apple. I hope your shorts are working as well. We're now dollar clubbing right there on Apple. So a big trade alert happening right now for Apple. And oh boy, we're happy that we have that one. Two big shorts right now on the futures. Probably Uber's probably coming back. No, Uber's staying upside. So okay, good thing we're not looking over there. I'm going to buy a little bit more now at this downside push there for Apple because we got one fill at 211. Let's get another one. That's us there at 214. So 211.14. Good move there for Apple. Let's just see if the futures want to fall. Come on, Apple, get lower than this, man. Good trading over here on Apple. We've got Intel CoreWeave action, and anything you guys want to talk about, man, put it in the chat. Maybe some Palantir. We haven't looked at that yet today. 128.75. I do want to look at Big Bear. That's not doing too much. I do want to look at Big Bear AI, because I do have this on the sticky note as well, 350 or so. It's getting close. So we just missed that. Let's see what happens with this at 350. Big Bear AI, but yeah, good trade here on Apple. We're out of about half of it. Let's see how much it wants to go down. Actually, a little bit less than half. I'm gonna take one more bid here at 16s. There it is. So now we have about half left of Apple. Let's see what winds up happening now.
Tanking is what's going to be happening on Apple.
Oh, let's
I can
hope
tell
so.
with bull flag, it's a bit of a bull flag on Intel here, so got to watch out because the chip names are going in opposite directions again. We jumped back into it off 21.33, same price as before effectively, but it could break out that high again. This is how quickly this thing snapped back above the volume weighted average price. That's violent. So I was on the bid at 25, and it snapped up without actually picking me up. So got to watch out for Intel. Like, it was going down when NVIDIA was going up, and now it's going up when NVIDIA is going to the downside, NVDA. I just got some out of CoreWeave, but I always deal with the one that's not working first as opposed to the one that is working, because that matters more. So up on Intel when NVIDIA is going down. That's not the recipe I want. If it makes a fresh high, we're just going to have to get out of it. CRWV, I have to say it that way because I've typed it wrong so many times in the last few days. It's insane. Still holding under VWAP. It cannot seem to, never mind. It just broke yesterday's lows. I was about to tell you it couldn't break yesterday's lows. It just broke yesterday's lows. I'm thinking this is going to head back in, hopefully, to Tuesday's close price at 63. Take it from station to station. So I want it down at that 63 level. We'll jump out and then reassess from there. Hopefully Intel doesn't blow us out the top right now. It's a couple of pennies underneath, but it needs to work better than this when the market's rolling over. So CoreWeave working, Alibaba nothing burger, because, well, honestly, Alibaba doesn't want to pop. Like, it can't short VWAP if it doesn't get to VWAP. BABA now 7%. There might be something else that I'm missing here that I actually like to the south side. Look at Tesla.
Yeah.
That's how rough. Tesla's doing nothing. Nothing. Inside day for Tesla.
Yeah, so that's why Tesla wasn't on our note today to do anything with it. We'll let it continue to watch out for that. 210 sort of is what we're looking at right now. I mean, I'll take a 210.50 if we can get anything like that. I'm going to put a bid right now, 210.75 or so on Apple. I think that we could get into this 210 area for sure here. So let's wait to see. We did try to reload. Let's go Apple. Let's go Apple, man. Yes, finally, good. We finally got, well, not finally, we do have these on, sometimes. Wow, Neil, we just called that level, and there it goes right there, 210.75. That's your face slapper there, Joey Options. Nice little move to the downside right there as we continue to go low, 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 low. Nice play there on Apple as there it goes. Nice play on the market. Let's see how much low we can get on that. We just got the low of the day on the market. We have the top of the NASDAQ. Now we have the low of the NASDAQ. Let's wait to see where we go from here, man. Apple could still lose a lot off of this. We're now green on Apple. So I don't know. I prefer red apples, but right here today, we'll see. I like the Granny Smith, but I like Golden Delicious apples. Those are my, that's my kid's favorite. So we like Golden Delicious. Baron likes those. Well, all my, they love all kind of fruit, man. I mean, fruit is tasty treat, that is for sure. All right, here we go, 210.50. Let's just take a 210.50, man. This is, again, the #1 trade here on the sticky note, and it's going to be not my P&L #1 because we lost on it early. Hopefully it will be. It's the futures as P&L #1, as we almost have $1 on that one. So we'll props up those plays as well. As here comes the futures, man, right back down into the downside. All we wrote down today on the sticky note was market feels heavy. I mean, that's like, but here we go. TQQs, NASDAQ feeling heavy at these levels. Great opportunity for a slowdown today. Look for pull-ups to get pulled back. So there it goes. Nice move to the downside right now. And we did exactly that. We followed our plan. So that's a boomer right there. Down to 69. Look at this, man. Boom on the TQQs. We like that one. Maybe I should tweet this one out.
I think you should. But I'm now out of CrowdStrike. We got exactly what we wanted out of it. CrowdStrike.
Nice. CoreWeave, yes.
Okay, not only am I saying CrowdStrike, I was typing CrowdStrike into my level 2 when I want to go to CoreWeave. It's just I'm not accustomed to the symbol. So it lost VWAP. We were able to get out in front of 63. You can see it's wicked the bottom through $63. So there's your bottoming tail candle. That was the target area, so I just jumped out of it. I don't normally think DIX is a day trade, but it's now down 14% on this Foot Locker deal. And if it breaks 180, I probably have a good long look at this at 175 for a bounce play. It just in my gut, it feels like it's way too much to the downside for this, and whatever. It's just I think I'm going to take a shot at this the next couple of days. I guess that'll be on probably next week. But as a day trade, if it gets to 175, I might look for an SSR bounce on DIX. That's a lot for the Foot Locker deal. We did get low of the day, but no better on Intel. So it goes top to bottom, but no break of the low. Key point is going to be whether we can break out the 7 a.m. the 8 a.m. Bottom tail candle on the NASDAQ. If that gets taken out and Intel doesn't go, then I'll be concerned about this low not breaking. If the market holds and Intel holds, then it's just doing what the market is overall doing. So Tesla's not doing anything. Alibaba, despite, never mind. Alibaba just broke the low one more time. It's 2 points away from 10% down. At that point, I'm looking for some kind of a bounce play. This is looking nasty, nasty, nasty. I don't want to jump back into CoreWeave yet. I want to look for a bounce. I was thinking we'd get some support. At 63, it bounced initially, starting to come back in lower. I'll look to re-engage either its volume-weighted average price or the prior low yesterday, which is 64. Right now, the shorts have worked. The longs that I wanted were so far down. NVIDIA could come into play, though. NVIDIA could come into play at that gap the other day, 131. That's your prior day high. It's still a couple of dollars away from any kind of reasonable bounce zone. And then iBit was the other one, Bitcoin 100K. It's down, but it's at 102,000. So you still got a ways to go to test 100,000 where I was looking for a bounce.
All right, good trading over there. Yeah, Uber, thanks for that. Uber goes right to 9. So I had written down again 90 to 90, 50. So, when we have that 50-cent range and it goes 50 cents against you, I'm going to get out. But, too bad because our average price was 90.50. Now it would be 50 cents in the money. But we take a 50-cent loser. So we'll have to sewer ourselves there because we can't, just continue to talk about, these winning trades and how we're nailing those because sometimes we do get nailed. But at least it was early and it doesn't really affect anything here. Obviously, it's a red mark on the account, but, we had a red mark here with Apple and then we turned our frown upside down and now it's a big one, right? So let's go back over to Tesla and have a look there because this is another name that I wasn't too interested in it today for some reason. And maybe we should have been. I mean, it is a huge move down right now for TSLA. So I think we were right about feeling the NASDAQ a little heavy as some of the names that had moved around are continuously moving around. Like what sent this market, excuse me, what sent this, and bless you, of course, what sent this market upside is sending it downside. And we already talked about that. We talked about that yesterday with Amazon, with sort of that doji print there that it was making. We said that with Uber yesterday as well. And there goes Amazon, reeling now back into the downside. And oh boy, man, this is starting to become something special. Let's see how low we can get on Apple, man. I mean, I would love to see this 210 area. Market's just getting weak right now. Will it hold these levels? I say no, hence the short. Okay, Boeing right now, not going down is Boeing. Still down up 0.1% over there. This guy's choking on 12 eggs over there. But nice downside move here for Boeing today, 208. Let's see where this one finds a home. But for me, man, I'm obsessed still with Apple as that's going downside. Coinbase as well. I talked about lows coming for Coinbase. Now that's down 6% now for Coinbase into 248. So yeah, man, let's get some more out on Apple. It does seem to be bouncing in and around this 260 area. So let's put a bid here at 210.66. See if we get a little bit lower on AAPL because the futures are kind of basing out here, right? I mean, maybe the futures want to go back upside here. I'm going to get one more piece out on the TQQs, and then we'll wait to see if we get a little bit of a higher take. There goes Apple, man. We just smoked that one as well. So far, so good here on the downside. But, yeah, Tesla, go ahead, yeah.
It's still kind of early. We're 9:53 here. let's see if we can survive this bounce, right? Like the Nasdaq's trying to get above the volume weighted average price. If it does close above, I think you wait for the highs. CoreWeave, not really. See, Intel's moving, but CoreWeave is not doing much to get back into VWAP. Intel, I did get some back in. We're less than before, but we got the low of the day, and now it's trying to break out that top. I'm not letting it break the top. I'm just going to leave the stop in there. If it makes a fresh high when the market's not making a fresh high, then to me that means it's no good. I'll jump into CoreWeave if we get a chance at the volume weighted average price. And I keep looking back over at Alibaba, and Alibaba keeps not bouncing. So lower and lower and lower it goes. It'll be 8% very soon. I can imagine like JD and others are probably absolutely tanking as well. I did want to acknowledge in the chat, early on some people were saying how strong SMCI is, but look at the turn on SMCI. That's looking pretty nasty. I like false breakouts, especially when they're at the previous close. So I prayed for locates, but I wanted to trade Intel first. If Intel is going to be relatively strong, and this is going to literally fail a 45 break, then I'm going to pivot over to SMCI, start looking at it to go back underneath VWAP here. If the market breaks out, different story. But as long as we hold the highs, I want to still look for some of these shorts, and I like that setup here on Super Micro.
All right, we're going to try to go short some Google if it comes through right now. We are now $1.50 in the money right now with our Apple trade as it just gets weak, man. And there it is. It's going to be P&L number 1 for me now as it continues to go downside here for Apple. Big trade, man, for that. You know, really happy to have this on. Obviously, we got stopped out there at 212 when it ripped up, but we saw that wick top. We wanted to stay short, the name that we thought short, and we did that. So there it goes, man. We'll wait to see what's happening on that one. Uber still in the middle. TQQ still doing this thing. I'm still waiting for topside on the TQs, man. I don't know. Wow, this is just I want to talk about more names, but honestly, when I have a lot. We talk about this, man. It's harder for me to jump between names because, like, if I miss certain things, like, I have to have bids out there to make sure I catch this. And then I'm always trying to focus on the plays that I do prefer. So if you guys have any names that are maybe looking around, look at Robinhood, man. We flipped up. Robinhood's getting crushed. We flipped up that short yesterday. You know, like, we had 62 written down as a long. As soon as that broke, we went short. So again, like, I really wish that we were able to hold things sometimes overnight, but there it goes. Only certain trades can hold overnight, but this 62, nice downside move there into 58, into 58.50, man. That's $4 from that breaking level. Will Robinhood eventually bounce? I think it will. But yeah, I mean, again, a great trade off the lows there for Robinhood. Getting hit. I mean, we saw Coinbase some downside action there. We've seen crypto a little bit. You know, meh right now in and around still 102. Meh. So still kind of meh right there as well. So there's a look at Coinbase down to 248, 247. I still think these are all shorts, man. I'm pretty negative about the market today. Do you remember at 8:30 when I did this? So let's wait to see what winds up happening now. The market's not even really tanking to where I think it can. So I think we can get a lot lower than this. Looking at the NASDAQ, like, let's talk about 21.2. Let's talk about some of these lows again coming through. We were just there. Let's get lower now, back into these levels. Break, and then, yeah, man. You know, housing market index coming out in a couple minutes. You think that's going to be good? Let's wait to see what winds up happening now. Apple still down near the lows. I'm going to put a bid at 210 and see if we can get that. I guess I can cancel my 212.50s. That's not happening. Nice downside play there for Apple. 210.20s. I'm going to bid, get a little bit more out, but futures really aren't doing anything, to be honest.
We've stayed inside the range for sure. Okay, SMCI starting to claw back up here. This will be the only thing new that I'm looking at. It's either going to hold on to VWAP or give us a run at 45 at some point. Just heard in my ear, Dix is making another low. You've got to be kidding. So Intel did the thing where it wicked out, but now I jump right back in if it wicks me out to try to play the range. Like, we're trying to get in here, hold to VWAP, which is 7-8 cents, and then try to make 10 pennies for a breakdown. So I don't mind getting in and out for a couple of pennies each time, but it keeps on breaking that top. I don't want long for Locker. Punch out of that. But Dix continues to make fresh lows. Well, I don't know where the bottom is going to be, but it's 175. That's the level that I'm kind of eyeballing here to look for a reversion play. It's done 3 million shares. It's actually pretty solid liquidity, which you want to make sure of, because if you've never traded a stock, you don't know what it looks like after the open. It looks okay to me. Like, the spread will open up every now and then, but it's tradable. 175 looks like a little bit of a low for that name. SMCI, this is starting to come back in. to the volume weighted average price. I might nibble if I can get the quarters. It's about the $0.50 where I think you've lost VWAP. I want it to be at least solidly above 44 even before we get into that one. And CoreWeave, that was the clean short that did work. Coming back into VWAP, there hasn't been a red candle yet, so it's a heavy bounce here on CoreWeave. Let's see it reverse the volume weighted average price. Do a topping tail, show me some weakness. I don't want to stand in front of this. We like to get it where show me the bounce, show me resistance, show me the topping tail candle, something like that for an entry as opposed to just standing there in front of a bunch of green candles.
Ozen might be there, who knows? But you know what's here in the club? It's now $2 on Apple, as again, we stay with what we've been doing, man. This is the #1 trade idea here on the stick. You know, we like it a lot. Let's check in on Rivian. Thank you to the chat right here. I might as well just hold out to see how low we can get. What's up, Daniel T? He wants to know what's going on with Rivian and QBTS. We'll have a look at both of those for you immediately. So here we go. Rivian, yeah, what's up with that? We saw that huge, I thought when you were posting that in the chat that maybe Rivian was getting clubbed because we did see that big sell imbalance and then it came to life again real quick like. So yeah, man, Rivian right back in there, right into yesterday's lows on that imbalance. No idea what was going on there. We pulled it up to you at 925 and it was like, okay, that was a sell imbalance. And I didn't look at it enough to say, hey, maybe if we get down into this level, it could be a buy opportunity. But I was pretty short thinking of the market today. So I don't know if I would have had that bid. But if we zoom back out a little bit here on Rivian, we can do some little bit of a deeper dive. Let's go over, we do have numbers. We do have Adara at 10 o'clock. When we come back, I'll look at Rivian. But yeah, 15 looks like a good support level. Maybe we pop from here. All right, Adara, what's up with you?
A perfect time here. We're just waiting on this data. Let's see if it's coming out here. Business inventories and housing market index. Just waiting for my screen to refresh. And we got these prints. 34 for the NAHP housing market index. That is below the forecast of 40. Business inventories month over month also lower than expected. 0.1% versus 0.2% expected. In case you missed it this morning, PPI coming in lower than expected almost across the board. Both the PPI and core PPI on a month over month basis actually getting negative prints. PPI year over year a little bit lower than expected, but core PPI year over year flat. Here's the Nasdaq, slightly making a lower high here, but pretty choppy this morning. What's certainly not choppy is UNH decisively lower today. In case you missed it, UNH, in addition to announcing the resignation of its CEO earlier this week, there's now, according to the Wall Street Journal, reportedly facing a DOJ investigation. Then we have Apple, AAPL on watch. We do know that Donald Trump, president of the United States, has expressed a little bit of annoyance with Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, because he wants to move this manufacturing to India. We know Donald Trump and his tariffs really want to move this manufacturing to the States. AAPL, UNH, just a couple names on watch. We know Foot Locker here being bought out, or I guess acquired here by Dick's Sporting Goods. So tons of catalysts to be aware of today. Back to you.
Tons of catalysts. Yeah, lots of catalysts today, that's for sure. We have a new position. I think it's a little bit early right now. It's Google. I want it up here for sure. Like, we're going to be averaging into this. If we break 165.50, that's where my stop is right now. So very early days, man. Half a unit in now on Google. Let me know if you guys like that kind of talk when we're talking about units. We've decided not to share size because, as we've said many times, there's different strategies that require different share sizes, and you guys trade however you want to. All my money is primarily made with the stuff that you're seeing right now. You do trade sometimes pink sheets on the side, but they're not really doing anything. I haven't made money on those in a couple months. So we're trying to focus right now on what we're doing right here, right now. Right here, right now. All right, we did get some more shares into TQs. Adam, man, you just told me I had a good price on the TQQs. And yeah, now I have a better one as it's all the way up. And look, we are fine being wrong. You know, stubborn is something that will kill you every single time in the marketplace. So if this market wants to rip my face off right now, then we will get out of it. I'm thinking short. If the short doesn't work, then yeah, we have to, you know, put your hands up and just say, like, that's it, you know. We get out of it and then we look for our next trade, like, because because we did that on Apple, we're able to make everything back and turn Apple into the P&L number 1 so far today, right? So there's those kind of plays that you have to focus on, and that's what I've been doing. So right here on the futures, we're short again right now. It just seems to be bouncing off 60 a little bit. So this is what I talk about when I'm trying to focus on certain things. Like, I have a lot of shares in these positions. This is what I make money on, or trying to anyways. So I'm going to do that. We're putting on some shares right now. There goes the TQQs. Let's see if we can get even lower, man. I mean, I want to be right, so I got to try to hold on. But at the same time, I mean, this is the trader's dilemma. We always talk about this, Neil, myself, everybody. Like, you know, you want to get out when you think it's right, and then if the market continues for you, you hope to have some on, and then if you don't, you try to reevaluate, maybe even buy lower prices, and just add to winning positions. You know, there's a lot of different strategies that everyone has to employ, and right now I'm going to try to hold because I think this market goes lower from here. So my next bid on the TQs is at the 50s, just to take some of this out, you know, relieve some of this move. And then I think we get back into the lows again. And if we can get the high and the low again, then we'll be laughing. So let's wait to see, or be laughing at me when we take out those highs. I'm looking at a 70 break on the TQs. If that happens, then we'll get out. So, you know, I mean, Neil, we all know this, right? Like, we're one tweet away from anything.
Well, hopefully not a tweet away.
Or truth.
I actually don't know that we're not expecting anything right now from the president. You never really know, but I feel like it could be a little bit quiet on that front. That's just a guess, but you got to get out when the getting is good. Intel, I played it before it got to the prior day low, but remember, like the market, like this was breaking out when Nvidia was going down. So we stopped. I'm like, let's go find something which looks weaker. SMCI. Okay, fine, let me just cancel that because SMCI did not fill me up underneath VWAP. It had failed to break and was trending down. So I went to the other name in chip land that was yesterday selling off for most of the day, and that's underneath the volume weighted average price, and that's going to be AMD.
Come on, Google.
So go to the other name that was weak. You don't have to short the stock that's absolutely ripping faces off, at least until it gets to your level. So I'm into AMD, as that was the third name on the list that we liked. CoreWeave not giving me the entry I want. Going to play inside of this range, 115.7 to 116.5. If it breaks out, then you still have a chance it could fail VWAP and then get in underneath again. So you're able to stick with that one, but just watch out here because NVIDIA just, you know what, they don't need to be sitting on the offer when NVIDIA is breaking out. So NVIDIA is breaking out right now above the volume weighted average price. AMD for now is holding, but that's the thing you got to be concerned about. I like the fact that it's relatively weak compared to NVIDIA, but if NVIDIA climbs forever, sometimes it's going to have it follow along suit. A lot of people were asking about KBTS. It just made another high break. So now $12.50 for D-Wave. Wow. Big break on the daily. That's a triple top on the daily through $12. I would assume Rigetti is making a move as well, but big move here for D-Wave. Fresh highs. I suppose these would be all-time highs on D-Wave, unless people know something about the stock that I don't know. So congratulations if you got D-Wave. I will not be shorting that one. That's an easy one.
All right, we gave you another one right there because Google goes down into the 20s, and we took some profit on that play right there. I mean, we fell right back into some support, so we take that. But remember, the market is at highs right now as well, which is kind of surprising because this is still $2. What's up, Max? $2 right now on Apple. Apple's at day's low. It is go follow me at TraderTv.live, and then you can say, what was he thinking about Uber short at 90.50? But right there, Apple, we talked about it again here. Headline retail sales, PPI and Powell today. There's the Apple 211 short. Trump talking down India. Apple pacing the early downside. Fade any pops. Well, that's pretty much exactly what we did there. We faded that pop, but we got popped first right there. And then, the only pop now that we're doing is popping bottles. So that's a nice move right now down to the downside for Apple. And here comes Google. Remember, we thought this was a little early. We talked about only putting on half of a unit. So if Google does come back up to the upside like it's doing right now, we do have to watch out for this 165 area. That's VWAP. Maybe 165.50 might be a little bit too generous to give this name to that upside. We just had to move back into the 60s there. We got to put a bid there because, again, trying to just hold some capital right now and preserve on some of these plays because the market's not really doing what I really did think it was going to do. I thought we were going to head to the downside pretty good today. And I mean, not even pretty good, but just down. And we're not really doing that, man. The PPI came out nice. and rallied the market. Then we had that move down, and it got me a little more confident in this play. Then we bumped up basically right off the open. We kept on going upside. That's when we got stopped out. Then we found Apple's home, and Apple's still all the way down here with the market here, giving me a little bit of jitters for sure. So we'll see if we can take some of this out now. Apple was another good here. I'm going to take one more piece, and then we'll see if we can wait for that bottom on Apple. But we're short everything right now, and that's exactly why we hit this short little icon earlier on in the day. So let's just see what happens right now, and we'll just go from here. I'm going to sit on some of these plays. You know, we talked about QBTS again. Quantum names absolutely flying, right? I mean, that was part of the momentum with Google, I feel like, over the last couple of days as well. Yep. There it goes, man, sharply upside there off earnings, off of the 50-period moving average. Good look there for QBTS. Again, a short float, obviously present in this name, so could fade back, but when the squeeze happens, and it's happening right now. 32 million shares on QBTS and nothing but upside love for that name. The biggest of the bears is sleeping right now, so we do want to say thank you to all 10,000 of you watching. And if you are watching, hit the like and the subscribe. And if you're watching, wake up a little bit, because right there, now the market's coming back in and the net is climbing. So far so good here today on all of these plays, to be honest with you, except for Uber. But Uber would be in the money if we don't have that, but we do. So we'll take one L there on Uber. We'll watch out for Google. It goes, what? Why didn't I get short there? I'm at 165. It printed 164.98. So there we go, man. We would have had a little bit more shares there on Google, but we waited. A little too conservative, but conservative is as conservative does. Look at the TQs. There's another out on the 50 period, so at least we got that. Sean is definitely a morning person. Yeah, I think I'm an all-day kind of person. I mean, I don't go to bed till midnight or so, and then we're here early. So yeah, we're just here. We love the market, man. I love sitting here with the opportunity to make money every single day, to be here with everybody. We're like only one coffee in, to be honest with you, because it is freezing cold. And like these coffees, I gotta
reminded me that I do have.
Yeah,
I have my second.
I gotta head up to Randy here. We need to get reloaded right here. Yeah, we have the Yeti trying to go as well. There it goes, man. The highest spot we've been at all damn day, as the bears are now back and going lower. Look at what Apple just did, man. Neil, we called this play, and we are still in this one. We're looking at $3 now on Apple. There's the take. Let's get lower, man. There it is. Day goal made. We were red early. We are now back. Where's the cash cow hat? You want the cash cow hat? The cash cow hat will be on my head tomorrow. There goes the TQs as well. Oh boy, man. This has been a big day, needless to say so far, but the day is young, Neil.
It's still young, and the shorts are still good. You just got to wait for your levels, wait for your prices, wait for the right stock. Look, we lost early on Intel. It was close to flattish, but we'll get it back. It just got to 2150. That was the original plan, was to short it at the prior day low. I love support to resistance and vice versa, but I am covering in front of VWAP, so a couple of chip names headed down, and NVIDIA is following as well. Let's go to Adair. We have a news update.
Keep an eye on the market here. There are some talks about ceasefire. We know that some of these geopolitical headlines can move markets. They can also move oil. What's happening here is Zelensky, of course, president of Ukraine, saying that if a ceasefire could be reached today at a technical level, a meeting with Putin can be skipped. So it seems like they are trying to negotiate this ceasefire sooner rather than later. Keep an eye on the markets. If there's any other updates to this story, I'll keep you guys posted. But it is worth noting, seems like this ceasefire deal is potentially in the works and could be figured out pretty shortly. Back to you.
Okay, it's obviously going to be good news. I don't know how much that's going to move the markets. It's, like I said, not necessarily a headline that's going to be a positive. We'd love it to be, but I don't know if it's going to be. SMCI is just continuing to flush in here. So this one, that'll be a missed opportunity. We weren't quite quick enough to pivot to this name to get the short, and it's going to break those lows. I still like the trend down, but it's not one that I want to chase over and over again. I do have to go back over to Alibaba. It's testing the lows. Just a reiteration, if it gets down 10%, thinking reversal long on Alibaba, just because it'll be SSR. Tons of volume, tons of liquidity on that name. AMD is trying to get back into underneath VWAP. Let me zoom it back in here so we can reload it in front of 116.5. Haven't been able to get filled just yet, but I think that's just a matter of time. And for everyone watching that QBTS, It's already pulled back in, but holding the prior high at 12. This now does have a distinct, well, it will in a second, distinct trend that you can slap for the open in front of the volume weighted average price. If it can hold on to this, I mean, just draw, you can connect it pretty easily there. If it can hold on to this and break the highs, this one has a chance to go flying again. Gonna throw it up on a side chart if SMCI is not gonna come back and pick me up before the party back to said downside. So trying to get a reload here on AMD. Still waiting on Alibaba to do something distinct here off of those lows. I am favoring, I wanted to be shorted, but I am at this point now looking for the 10% down for a bounce.
All right, so we got, we'll hit this graphic for once here. We'll see. Again, I don't know what's going to be happening here with Google, but we did get reloaded. We did take a little bit of a bid right there at 50. Let's see if we can get a little bit lower here. So this is what I mean when we talk about like favoring the short versus not, versus this versus that, because all of a sudden, all this news happens and things change, right? And so you do have to watch out there. Any sort of a ceasefire would obviously be good news there. So we'll have to play it accordingly, right? We are now into another new position. We have 4 positions so far today, which is a lot for me. 5 positions so far out of Uber, but 4 currently. There's Big Bear AI 55s. I just took some there at 57, and again, it depends on the share size you're trading, whether or not you want to take profit for 4 or 5 cents on Big Bear AI. I'm looking for a little bit of a higher play on that one as well. The futures did come back a little bit there. We did not reload anything. We actually got some more out at VWAP, and then again at the 50 period. I'm actually going to take the opportunity now to take another piece here. Bid 43s. Did we just get that? What am I even bidding there? There we go. Now it comes back in, so we take that fill as well. The only position right now that's even against me is Google, and that one I'm not in love with this position. So I'm gonna let it go a little bit. I still think 165.50, but if this market really wants to rally, I think Google can probably go. I mean, Google had a huge move higher there in the pre-market, only before falling as soon as the market opened. So there we go. We get another reload there. That'll be it, man. We'll wait for 165, like 25 right into here, and then we're getting stopped out if it breaks that. So what's up to Hold Gang and Trade Gang out there right now? We're green today for now, but the market is looking like it wants to go higher off some of this news. So I'll pass it over to Neil when we get back, because I think, was that a call for Adara?
Was it?
Yeah, just very surface, like very specific on news, right? So let's go see what, oh no, great call on Uber, someone just said. Money, 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 money. Lack of money, money, money. But we did have Uber written down as a short. We got stopped out literally by 5 cents there, breaking through 91. Now it's $1 and change in the money. Congratulations to you there for sort of following your own plan. Mine that time didn't work, but we're green and we're having a decent day. Miss Adara, what's up?
Yeah, just keep an eye here on the market here. We have Sefcovic of the EU saying that he and Howard Lutnick, who is the U.S. Commerce Secretary, have apparently agreed to accelerate talks and that their conversation went well. So now it looks like the EU and U.S. potentially having some updates, hopefully positive ones with regards to trade talks. So keep an eye on the market. More trade-related headlines coming through. Also, we want to take a moment here to thank our friends at Easy Trading Computers. Have you ever entered an order to buy or sell and the price you got filled at is completely different from what you expected? That is called slippage. Slippage happens when you're trading on an older underpowered computer, and it costs traders a bundle. So that's why our friends at Easy Trading created the complete guide to trading computers. This guide shows you exactly what technology you need to succeed as a trader and avoid slippage. Go ahead and scan the QR code right now to get a free copy of this guide. Back to you.
Rivian and Tesla.
I didn't even. Tesla just broke out. You heard. Well, we heard Joe. You guys didn't hear Joe just now. But look, the market's headed lower, but Tesla headed higher. And Rivian broke out about 15.
Oops.
This is 2 times in a row. Massive sell imbalance in the pre-market right before the open on Rivian, and it absolutely runs higher. If it does it a 3rd time and we don't even try along, then I'll be mad at myself. But there's actually, right back into VWAP is Tesla. So it was breaking out a second ago, but it looks like that has abated a little bit. That could be a bit of a trap there on Tesla. I'm going to zoom back in. We got the reload still in range on AMD. So we continue to short the pops.
Oh yeah.
And see if we can't get down into that low of the day. Intel working back into the volume weighted average price. Alibaba's not really doing much of anything. And Dix, okay, still have this one. It's now at that 175. All I'm looking for is a break of trend. It's falling like an absolute rock. What doesn't make any sense to me is why Foot Locker is not falling with it, but that's another story. So it's now at $175, which is the first level of support for DIX on the daily chart. There's your trend line. If it can break it, looking for the long. Underneath here, I guess there's like 165, 170. They don't like combined Foot Locker, down 16% for DIX Sporting Goods. They got a downgrade by somebody too. I have no idea who. I don't think it should matter that much, but look, maybe fundamentally they don't think the synergies is good. I think
oh my God, I just messaged you, dude. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Randy.
That was fast.
Yeah, did you put it in the main chat? Oh, you put it in the main chat. Okay, that's why I don't even have the main chat open.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so nice move down. I do have it open, but nice move down there for Apple. We got 209 and change. We're right there at 210.30 and change. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening right there. Google, the short is, we just got printed huge there on Google, so pretty happy with that one. And when I'm nervous about something, and then we get a 165 VWAP and it comes right back in, and we're able to take 60 or 60s again, 40 cents, we're gonna do that. We're at the day's high for ourselves right now. That doesn't mean that we can't get lower though. Let's see if we can get lower in the market, which would mean more profits for these shorts. We're only short. We said we wanted to be short today. Let's stick with our guns and do that. Nice little call there on the short. Let me check in on Eli Lilly now to see what's going on. So 720, we bought some of this yesterday, or 2 days ago. Thank you, Randy, by the way. We bought some of this a couple days ago at 750. So, okay, that's going to be a play to look at there. Eli Lilly down, up, down. Again, what is up, Adara?
There is news, but it's also around 10:20 a.m., so I'm going to do news and small caps for you guys. I'll start with the news. Keep an eye on AMD and NVIDIA, as well as maybe any semiconductor or AI-related plays. I'm seeing this headline here circulate throughout X. Apparently, they're basically saying that the Trump administration's rush to make AI deals in Saudi Arabia and in general in the Middle East is apparently causing a rift with hawks in China. Some Trump administration officials actually want to slow down these NVIDIA and AMD sales to the Middle East. So as you can see here, NVIDIA did get a little bit of a wick to the downside on that story, but it's recovered pretty nicely. AMD didn't react too much. So again, just to clarify, apparently Trump's admin is a bit concerned about how quickly these AMD and NVIDIA deals have happened, and it's led to a bit of a rift with China hawks, which is making them want to slow down these deals potentially. So beware of that. Not a lot here in the world of small caps. We'll start here with Satellogic, SATL. Day 2 earnings play for these ones. Then we had GRYP. No new news for this one either, but that's the wrong letter. GRYP. There we go. Third time's a charm. GRYP on Watch You. This is Griffin Digital. In case you missed it, they're going to be taking this American Bitcoin public, but that was announced back on Monday. So a lot of continuation plays here in the small cap space as of right now. Again, pretty light when it comes to these small cap gappers as of this time of the day. Maybe we'll get some more later. Back to you.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like the only thing that was popping up on scanners was the quantum names. And really standing out for those squeezes. So DKS here, it broke the trend. It's trying to get to the upside. A lot of times you want that, like it breaks the trend line and it immediately has like a heavier candle like this here. We'll see. Like this is a 3-minute chart, so I want to see it get into the 178 level. I am on the bid trying to get more shares. I didn't get them. Low of the day. Prior bar in this case is low of the day, which makes it relatively easy for this DKS.
Something else.
So if we get to it's about one, I said 179. It's actually 180 that I'm expecting to be resistance. So 180, there's your support to resistance. Go out to the daily chart, and then 180, some significance, 185 probably bigger. So we're going to play this as a pure reversion play from station to station on DKS. AMD, however.
Keep it going, Google.
AMD came through, broke my level, but held VWAP. So I got to jump back into this. It broke the lower high support, but held onto the volume weighted average price. But I was shorting this support level, not VWAP. So I will jump back in as long as we close this underneath the volume weighted average price. Intel still working, but the only new position is DIX Sporting Goods, which is now trying to bounce in here. I'm not going to pick up this bid. And now that it's traveled to 78, there's no point sitting on the bid down there at 76 again. It either gets to 79.80 at this point or break even stop. It's broken 78, so break even stop now.
All right, welcome everybody. Make sure you do hit that like and that subscribe button. We do have the sticky notes up on Instagram. We do have them up on X as well. Google turned out to be pretty much one of the larger positions because we kept on getting into it on VWAP. So as this collapses a little bit, I don't want to say collapse, well, I did, but it needs to collapse down here into 164 and change. We do have some small bids if we do make it down into that area just to capture some profit. I thought we were going to get shorter there on the futures and we didn't. I did have another order here at 80 to get into that level. I think the fact that like I'm still hovering around the highs, considering the market is doing this, like I'm really excited if the market does fall. What's up, Sebastian? We are the cash cow. We'll have the hat on there tomorrow. There's the cash cow for Ozan, for Sebastian, and for everybody else that's trading here today. Green, very green today. This is one of my better mornings in pretty much weeks right here because we didn't have that initial huge hit. We did have it actually on Apple, but it wasn't huge. We did have a hit on Uber, which is making me sick a little bit, but that was, again, pretty small. We're learning to get into trades after they actually develop. And I mean, it's okay to have some ideas. We wanted the Apple short at what did I write down? 211, 212. It does rip up and we get out, right? We were like, oh my God, we're not gonna lose $1 on this trade. So we get out. We didn't lose $1. Then we see the top and we say, okay, if we like the short, let's try it again. And now, you know, to lose 60 or 70 cents and be put back in this trade, now up $2, makes a little bit of sense for me on that one. Big Bear AI was a good one. Like, again, right back into these levels. Like, we'll just take it out again. Like, you know, it's one thing if, you know, share size, we talk about that. But, like, if you can take a lot of shares and make 5 cents, that's the same as making a little bit of shares and taking $5. So you got to trade within the stock that you're trading, you know, and Big Bear AI, because it's not really moving the way I thought it would today, it's down 7% right now. I'm getting out if this breaks 50. Oh boy, not to keep on saying the same crap over and over again, but there it is, man. It's Google. We are now at officially the highs of the day for ourselves as we continue to go downside right now in this market. Yeah, so far so good here. Google, nice little downside push. How's trading over there?
It's good we're green, but I want to tell everybody here that every trader knows that if you want to grow, you have to risk more. At least that's how it used to be. Trade the Pool is changing that. You pay a one-time evaluation fee starting at $47, and that's your total risk. And you get a real shot at trading with up to $200,000 in capital, company capital that is, and you don't need a large deposit, you don't need years of experience. It's a limited risk trading platform built on for any trader that wants to grow without putting everything on the line. Just some small skin in the game and you're trading with real capital. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. You can get 10% off to start your journey with Trade the Pool. Let's rock and roll, as it says there on the old shirt there. So like I said, Dix will be a break-even stop. It's okay to be wrong, but you don't want to be wrong forever. Right back into the downside.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's exactly true. And that's sort of the thing. You want to make sure that when you win, that trade that you took, if you get a win on a trade that you took, the amount that you risked on that trade is going to be something that allows the strategy to be profitable long term, right? So if you make $100 on a trade and you risked $250 in that trade, good, bad, $50 on that trade, good. Like that kind of a thing is what you want to work with. So I'm taking an SSR play. If it bounces and goes to like the first resistance spot and fails it, then to me, I don't hold it back into the low anymore. Because if that's the only move that it gave me at my level and I didn't get it, then I need to be getting out of Dodge. Well, that's generally a rule I like to follow. Intel, we're still in that one. It's not really giving me VWAP just yet. So it seems to get up to 50 and can't break 40, which means, hey, we'll get some out there in front of 40. I'll still wait for the volume weighted average price at 21.35. If it breaks that, I think you wait for the 25s and the 15s like it was before. But we had to step away from that one at 35 and wait for the prior day low, right? There's your prior day low. Trade it here, wait, trade it here. So it's stair-stepping up, which means I had to wait for another level to be able to play it. Still nothing going for me on Alibaba. It's down, but it's not near that 10% mark where I was kind of thinking that we're going to make that low and catch a little bit of a curl. I did favor this one short, but ultimately, like this was the pre-market at 9 o'clock when it was at those highs. It just fell off an absolute cliff instantly at the open, and I elected not to chase it. It's a little bit of a a bit of a disappointment there for myself on Alibaba. And Joe was just talking about Tesla to us, how strong it was. Right back underneath the volume weighted average price. So Tesla starting to lose it a little bit here. QBTS for all of you high flyers, also underneath VWAP. If this can hold on to the prior day high, I might jump on over to it, but it's getting put to the test right now. So I think it's more of a, give it to 10:30, let the next 15-minute candle close. This is a 3-minute. Let this 15-minute candle close. If it holds on to the high, then I think it looks the prior day high. Then I think it looks a little bit more constructive because that's a nasty looking reversal on the 15. Doesn't make you want to go long.
Boy.
Very nasty.
Janet Jackson, just nasty. Yeah, we are just. Shout out to Joe too. He's messaging me right now. Good job there, buddy. I'll let you tell your story today, but congratulations, on manning up. All right, 69.46 right now. Nice drip on the Qs, but I don't know. I'm just going to try to let this market fall in. If I just keep covering, it's great. We have profit. We're in the money now, but let's think a little shorter, a little longer time frame on the shorts, because to just cover every time, then when it gets down here, I'm going to have like a little bit of shares, and that's not something that I want. Like I want to be able to, if the market cracks, that we actually have something on board to do something with. So here we go, 164 and change. I'll put another bid. My next bid on Google is all the way down there, 164.10. That's my next bid over there. The TQs again, next bid low, like low of the day. If we can get into 69, we're going to do that. I'm just making sure, so I got to cancel some of it. Yeah, so I have a 69.20, then a 69.02 and lower, and then we are waiting to get shorter up here if that does come through. Apple is still cruising, and then Big Bear AI, I feel like this is going to drop out. It'll be roughly flat. If we still have a little bit more than half of this trade, trying to give it a little bit of room to breathe. But as we go, Neil, we just talked about giving ourselves some more room to the downside, and now we're starting to crank lower. So it's a nice move. Can we withhold some of these bottoms? I don't know. We've been holding it so far. How about those Timberwolves? Yeah, did they beat? I guess they now, because these guys are also juiced up. Like they're just getting hurt all the time. I don't mean juiced up like illegally. It's just that their bodies are just so finely tuned.
They're bigger, stronger, and
right.
faster.
It's like they pop.
The forces. This is
ACLs and all this stuff is popping like every day.
There's a buddy of mine who's like a physiotherapist. I had this conversation with him about Zion Williamson, and they're like, this guy has no chance to stay healthy because he's so obscenely explosive for a guy as big as he is. Like nobody's body is going to be able to hold up to that strain if he doesn't get smaller, right? Because it's too much, and that's why.
I mean, that's the NFL. Like that's all those guys, right? Like these linebackers are like 270 pounds, and they're running like 4.5s. Like I don't know. It's insane. Hey, look, man, we love sports around here, and we thank all the athletes. They're handsomely paid. Like Tatum gets $65 million a year. He's not even touching the court next year. $65 million and not stepping a foot on the court. All right, what's up, Adara?
Once again, I'm going to be preempting our segment with a handful of headlines. For one, apparently, I'm seeing that the Trump administration is targeting billions in energy grants for the next round of audits. So keep an eye on PLUG. We know Plug Power has quite a few grants on watch. Then also here, it is worth noting, keep an eye on there. Here it is. Just be aware of the market in general. The U.S. and UAE have reportedly finalized a technology framework agreement, and this agreement will require commitments on both sides that ensure security of technology. So just some tech agreements there are going to be on watch as well. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin and crypto in general. BTC, as I've mentioned, this has kind of continued uptrend bull flag look here. We do, though, as of right now, we're kind of struggling to hold up above this 100,000. We're above the 100,000, mind you. We're making lower highs, lower lows. Now the area that I think is going to really matter is this area around 101,000. We bounced off there back on Monday, and as you can see here, there was a little bit of resistance back there going back to February. So let's see if we can hold up. Right now, hanging out about 102,000 for BTC. Ethereum down about 2% today. XRP down about 5%. Solana 5%. Dogecoin 5%. Cardano 6%. It's hard to find any positivity today. Crypto, like the rest of the market, trying to push a little bit lower. Back to you.
Yeah, my IBIT thing frozen? Sometimes it does that.
It's 101.9.
Yeah, I know. It's happened to me before on Binance. It broke 102 a while ago, but it is breaking channel right now on IBIT. I still like that 100K. We're going to get into it at some point. If we get to 100, underneath 101, I'm looking for the reversion. We just got to the volume weighted average price and trying to see if Intel will break underneath it. So far, you've been range bound. Like, you got the highs and then the prior highs to support. So you wanted to take that next step. Well, I wanted to take that next step into said downside, as obviously it's headed to the downside. I just heard Coinbase's.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with
7%.
Can we find out, Adara? Because like that seems a little bit nothing new. Okay, so Adara just letting us know that this is just momentum. I don't know. I mean,
it's going into the index.
When we had it there, I was like, this froth on the index is not exciting to me to buy the tops. I do like the name, and I was calling it lower. I mean, didn't think it was this low. Oh my. We are really starting to get down on some of these plays right now, man. Google is absolutely the dream right now. I'm actually up more on Google right now than I am on Apple. TQs is my #1 trade P&L-wise today. They're all right there. Unfortunately, Uber is the only L that we have, which would now be nicely in the money, but you got to be disciplined. I'm completely fine taking that hit. Thanks, everybody, for trusting in some of these positions, because guess what just happened again? Now we're almost $1 in the money now on Google. And we just covered some down there at 164.10. That's my best out right there. So it is a nice one. Okay, Google. Now we are getting excited as we continue to go a little bit lower on all of these plays, man. I'm glad you have that intel. And then we have the same news in our ears, but UNH still going lower.
It's Coinbase I'm eyeballing right now.
Yeah, Are you in Coinbase? Oh, you're watching it? Yeah. UNH still facing this investigation, man. Downside play there for sure. Market trying to bounce a little bit at the lows, which I think is important that we cover when we get into some of these plays. We said the Qs are going down there. I told you where we were bidding. That's where we got filled. So now we wait for the lows again to hit here. We're bidding, I'll tell you again, 69.02. If it comes through, we'll fill that. Our 69.20 came in. Now we have 69.02 looking to print again. Big Bear AI, the low hanging fruit today, as it just hangs out there. Apple's reversing. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. It does look like it's getting stronger. We're getting lighter and lighter on Apple. I mean, we already made the move, and it already took out the 200 period back there to the upside. So thank you for that. Who was that in the chat? This is the problem when I have too many shares or too many positions. Top VoIP, thank you so much for bringing that up, man. That is a good point. Apple does seem to be gathering some strength here. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, I just want to provide some context on Coinbase, and I want to add this is not new information. It was actually on our watch list this morning when we reported it. The part of this Coinbase story that I think has been kind of forgotten about, in addition to the fact they were hacked, they actually said they're estimating expenses between $180 million and $400 million with regards to remediating costs and voluntary customer reimbursements regarding their cyber incident. Their cyber incident, of course, involving a hacking and a $20 million ransom. So again, I want to mention this is not new. This was on the watch list when this story was initially reported, but Coinbase estimating some pretty hefty costs with regards to their hacking situation. It's also not just Coinbase that's to the downside. I think if I show you guys MSTR, you might get a better sense of why Coinbase is down. All of crypto is really weak. MicroStrategy opening here around 415 right now, below 400. So it is not a coin exclusive move. I want to make that incredibly clear. Back to you.
We are very inclusive.
Robinhood too as well.
Yeah, Robinhood downside. So here's the Qs, man. We talked about 69.02. It bounces off 69.05. So I'm going to wait. Let's just wait. Why not wait? All right, so yeah, we got it right now. Andre, so let's look at that QR code right there. If you're looking at charts, if you're looking at the chat, if you're looking at what we're doing, man, I use eSignal pretty much solely for everything that I do. I have eSignal on my top screen right here, so traders, listen up. Your first month is free. That's right. The fees have been waived. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite advantage with eSignal. Analyze, strategize, and capitalize. The platform has everything. It's infinite data, over 500 symbols. You can connect over 50 plus brokers, as you guys can see there. Lightning fast scanners, game-changing charts, back testing, real-time back testing. I could test test right now what just happened 10 minutes ago. Second charts, execute all your best trades on the eSignal platform and give it a shot. These screeners, man, it's what I'm always looking at to the side. So, you know, I just hope that you guys, I know it's a little bit expensive once it gets going, but, you know, if you want to drive a Ferrari, guess what? It's going to cost you a little bit of cash. So right there, that's what we're doing, man. Look good, feel good, trade good with eSignal. Maybe I should tell them that. Look good, feel good, trade good. And that could be on the read. I actually don't really, I just kind of read off.
Well, how it even looks.
The top of my.
You can even custom, like, so much of it is customizable. Like, the feel of it, like the layout, it's, look, man, we say this all the time. Like, the layout, pretty much any indicator that you want, you're able to put it where you want to, pop it in, pop it out. So you have all the information pretty much at your fingertips here. My goodness. Well, it's crazy because I just happen to have the UNH chart up here. I just saw 250.
Oh, yeah? It's 250 now. What do you think about those levels? Like the options levels? I know we have Joey.
Let me just go first here. Apple just wicked the volume weighted. Is that right? Oh,
Apple?
No, it didn't, did it?
Well, Apple's, yeah, it might have, because Apple is ripping.
Okay, so you know what? My black charts, which I trust a little bit more.
Yes, Neil. Yes, it did.
This one has it not doing it. This one doesn't really matter.
Here it is on eSignal.
It broke that wick, and I got in.
Nice.
It doesn't really make a difference. It broke this wick, so I got into the short with the stop at that high, which is 210.90. But now I'll finish the thought on UNH, because I think it's, well, I mean, a lot of people are interested in where the bottom might be for this. So there's 280 on now new news, because there's an investigation going on, and it's still bleeding. This is a monthly chart of United Health, a monthly chart. 240 and then 212 are the only levels out there. And I'm not even sure there's anything worth looking at here until either you make a wipeout bottom with a bottoming tail that's just so obvious that you got to smash it, or let it sit for like 2-3 days off the same level and hold. But we're about to lose VWAP on Apple. I don't mind getting out and getting back in if it wicks this bottom or wicks this high. But once we take out, it's just underneath the 211 level or even at the 211 level, I'm jumping out of Apple. You can't fight it forever, and it looks like this one does want to get to the volume weighted average price. I was wicked out and not fast enough to get back in. So if it does break the even dollar, I'm going to leave it on this level too, because if it's a wick, I got to be able to jump right back into the trade. We did it successfully with Intel, but I wasn't able to with Apple. Like, I was wicked out, we were able to get back in, then we got some at the low, wicked out, did not get back in that time. This time, we didn't actually take it in front of the high. This is still working to set downside, but for now, you just got to stay the course, everybody. UNH, for everyone out there, this is what it looks like. It's actually leveling off. If you're so inclined on this, what I'd be looking at is this wedge on UNH. If it can somehow break that, maybe you work it back into the volume weighted average price. But on stocks like these, they're not that clean. Because I'll show you like Dix. Like Dix did this, reversal candle get me out flat, and now it's at 179 bucks. So that's the other way to look at it. Like, it's not always clean on a thick name. That's why I prefer it on something like an Alibaba.
Market's starting to go back upside right now. Like, good call out. Thank you to Top VoIP IP. You just mentioned that Apple getting into that one and out. Like, me too. Like, it's starting to hurt. Not hurt, but starting to make a bigger move than expected right now. So this is why, man, we talk about covering everything when these moves happen. It got to 69.02 where I'm bidding, and we never got filled. So there it goes with the future. Sometimes you take the bad with the good, and sometimes you get great fills, and sometimes you just get missed. But at the end of the day, man, it was like for 5% of the shares, so I'll take some out more out right now, as it's kind of just like been pretty slow. Oh, Adair's at the green screen? Okay. Oh, okay. All right, then let's go over there. We're a little bit late on this one, but it's Sector Watch right now with Adair. I didn't even realize the time.
Yeah, I would say the market looks a little bit stronger than maybe the percentage suggests, and that's because, much like we are here on this green screen, a lot of these sectors actually are green. just not the ones with these larger market cap names. Finance here, tons of strength. Health technology, some strong names here as well. Utilities looking pretty good. Communications excellent here today. Consumer non-durables pretty good. Energy minerals a little bit weaker. And then let's talk about the especially weak sectors. Health services taking a tumble once again. Of course, as UNH now hits another snag, this one involving a reported DOJ investigation, according to the Wall Street Journal. Retail trade getting hit pretty hard here. Walmart earnings sending itself and Amazon to the downside. Then we have some technology weakness, specifically NVIDIA and Apple, though Cisco actually pretty strong. Last but not least, let's talk about this tech services space. Netflix strong once again. Netflix still hanging out near all-time highs above $1,100, but Google and Meta a little bit weaker today. So pretty mixed look, but a lot of these Mag 7 and tech names dragging the rest of the market a bit lower. Back to you.
Just a little bit to the left. And yeah, low. There's that UNH. And there's your trend line. I got to hit save. I always say it out loud to remind myself, because I want that to be there. The other thing about this, the reason why I'm drawing the trend line here, it's at $250. So another thing I like for an SSR bounce play is going to be at a big, massive round level, which obviously $250 is going to be. Apple, good thing we got out of that one, because look at it churn. So it broke the prior bar and now headed back into the highs. Incredible strength here coming into Apple. That's taking things higher. Intel just broke the volume weighted average price. All right, let's get some. I want to get some out here.
I'm going to go more
I should have just gone to 40. There, we'll get some out there. Breaking the volume weighted average price. I want to get it all out, but that's also going to be a trend break. I can eyeball it and see that it's broken that downward trend and punch some out there. So we're going to get some out. Not all of it. But if it gets back to the high at 21.5, we'll obviously reassess because it's a good level. I don't mind double tapping it, but I'd like to usually see like that trend break take us into the low of the day, which it absolutely did not. For now, it's still good. It's underneath the trend line. I can reload it under VWAP if it starts to look good there. But right now, just going to make sure we're only holding on to the last like 10% of the position. Bora, CoreWeave's at VWAP, yes, but it's not the same as it looked before. CoreWeave, when it initially broke 65, clean underneath the volume weighted average price. Now it's just distinctly different. Like you've got this, like that's a bottoming wedge that it's breaking out on a name with, I think squeeze potential. So this is not one I would be getting back into. If anything, if I was taking a better look, I would go long, but I'm bearish on it underneath the 65 level. So I'm staying away from CoreWeave. I don't mind being one and done on a stock. If nothing sets up again on CoreWeave, then I just won't trade it for the rest of the day. We got our shot at the open, and we took it, and it worked. Don't need to compound it by trying to average or trying to go back into the short here, when really, CoreWeave,
come on,
if we're at the close here, you'd be closing 65 above that prior high. That's still pretty bearish, or bullish, I should say.
Yeah, come on, Apple, right there. Yeah, look, tough one, right? For Apple, for sure. But I'm not going to let 212 go. So if 212 breaks again, I'm not even going to go up to 212.50. Like, I just think that we've broken through too many levels. So sometimes it's like, you can get short all the way up to the top there. But to me, I mean, that's where right now this 50-period moving average, 200-period moving average is right now on a 5-minute chart. I kind of like to look at this just for kind of like momentum on where we're going. And, if we hover, like yesterday, we're above it, right? So it stayed, the long I would have stayed in, the long would have worked. It didn't, it's not like it was huge. This line, it doesn't give you everything. But as long as we're underneath, I want to stay short. So it's kind of the same thing that I'm thinking about here with this period, with this 200 period on the 5-minute chart. So I'm going to try to get a little bit more short here at 80. And then if it breaks 12, we'll get out and turn red, I guess, on Apple if that winds up happening. But we've been capturing profit everywhere else, so it's good. Oh, the biggest of the bear. Look what just happened here. Same thing on Uber happened to me again. We're flat on Big Bear AI because it goes and breaks 350. I was just like, let me get out if it breaks it, and then it just stops and pops. So if you had a little bit of a better out there, I initially had 345, but because my net, and it still is good, we're still up today. We're not at the highest spot we've been at because of some of that move on Apple, but Apple's coming back in, making me smile. But to stay green, and we talk about how important that is, today, you know, we've been favoring the short. I didn't want Big Bear AI to get out of control because it's down pretty good today. So I did take that break out downside there. So like I'm down right now, Big Bear AI, 15% of what I'm up on the TQs, you know? So that to me is good because we do favor this. I'm gonna bid again 45s. So we just got another out there at 45 on TQs. Hopefully we can get to the downside. Reddit, what? I said I really liked Reddit. Tell me you said, did someone say it's down 9%? Okay, good. So I actually want to buy this name, but I did see it get really excited there yesterday and thought that, hey, a pullback into like the $100 level or so for me is a buy on Reddit. So I'm actually going to buy some Reddit if it does come into this level here and then just say, let's see about this garbage. That was, you know, obviously the lows into around $80. But again, I like newer IPOs. Not that this is new. It's still new. It's less than a year old, or just over a year old. So, you know, we'll wait to see, but Reddit coming back in today. You know what its PE is, man? 56. So it's not.
But there's a lot of names.
Yeah,
crazy
but
PEs.
people are selling down PEs.
Fresh
that would be another one with a
UNH
crazy PE.
Robinhood's getting smoked as well. It's not just a Coinbase thing. Robinhood's down 5%. The other day, I actually said I was going to sell my Coinbase for Robinhood because I liked Robinhood better. Yeah, you know, I wish I had known there was going to be this issue over at Coinbase, but for now, we'll wait for it to get down 10%. UNH just broke 250. So if it's a false break, that would still set up the break of this trend line here. So I'm just eyeballing UNH for now. I went over and I looked at AMD again and was like, you've got to be kidding me. AMD dropped like a rock after it took out the volume-weighted average price and continued to hold lower. So I'm going to favor that one for reentry short as opposed to Intel here, or maybe Intel could give me 2150 again. That would be fine. But yeah, AMD just incredibly weak. All right, just made a fresh low. So the break of trend not in play anymore on UNH, and I can show you what's going on in Advanced Money Destroyer. It's back to being that because look at that flush into the downside. We had a couple of successive shorts, and then it broke the seller that was there at the 116.40 level. I got out, but not back in. This is clearly a relatively weak one here on AMD. Prior lows 115. That's a wick. 115.40. So I think you really need to give it into 50s and the volume-weighted average price on a bounce. But yuck, yuck, yuck. Looking very nasty for advanced micro devices. And this is with NVIDIA bouncing right now. Like NVIDIA's bounced to the volume-weighted average price, and AMD is still chilling out at those lows. So not looking good for the second day in a row here on AMD. Let's go over to Adara at the desk.
This is Money Talks time. We're going to take a look here at the U.S. dollar. This is a 3-minute chart, nice little uptrend. Let's see if its uptrend is maintaining on the daily chart. As of right now, we still are. Yesterday, certainly a bottoming tail candle forming. Today, pretty much flat around the same level. I do want to talk about the PPI prints because it's significant not only that these month-over-month prints were negative, but also just to the extent of which they were below expectations. PPI month-over-month negative 0.5% versus positive 0.2% expected. Core PPI negative 0.4% versus positive 0.3% expected. The Fed funds watch tool isn't showing any significant changes. We still are not expecting a cut until potentially September. June and July still heavily pricing in a rate hold. PPI year over year a little bit lower than expected, 2.4% versus 2.5%, but core PPI exactly in line with expectations on a year over year basis. So that is our Money Talk segment. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you're looking for fun market updates and infographics, check us out on X at TTV Research because I post those on a very regular basis. Back to you.
That one, bear market still intact. Let's see if we can keep going on that one. Look, we wrote down earlier, and just to talk about it real quickly here, we had wrote down, there it is. Oops, I'm pulling down the wrong thing. It was Amazon is sort of the level that I wanted to see. We did talk about Amazon being weak today and that we wanted the short. Well, guess what, man? Next time, maybe we'll just like not even wait for levels and just punch short, but that would not have worked on Apple. There goes Amazon. You know, we should have potentially shorted when we saw this 206 hold right there, but Amazon continues to be weak there. You know, yep, if you're looking for a downside play there, that may continue. Look at Amazon. We averaged into Apple there, and it was going good until it wasn't. I was like, let's go Apple. Apple just went to 1120s, now back up to the 60s. Remember, if this breaks through 12s, we are out of Apple. And we did cover some more futures as it just made that move. at 30, so we put a bid down there, and we did not. Actually, I did think we did cover some more Google there, but we did not. So I'm going to put a bid now on Google just to take something out. Oops, that's Big Bear AI, my bad. Right there on Google. So we didn't get that cover down there, so we'll take a little bit out right now. The market seems like it wants to go up, in my opinion, right now. So maybe the short is wrong, but we've been covering. The only position now in question is Apple. But you can scan right now that QR code that's on your screen and get those unbelievable and unbeatable odds. And I don't know, man, I got roped into betting the Maple Leafs last night, but the good thing was it was a much better odds on here on ProfitX than was on FanDuel or DraftKings. So they have a peer-to-peer platform. Make sure you get over there. They also have API access, so you could definitely train your models to go over, look for value there on sports gambling. Experience total control every step. ProfitX is sports playing reimagined. Make sure you do use code TraderTV. TraderTV, one word, to get your 2% cash back up to $3 bills. And the thing is that just log in and try it. Like, that's what we want you guys to do. Scan that QR code, get over there, log in if you're a sports gambler. If not, that's fine. But just the odds are there. Not available in every state, but, you know, go ahead, give it a shot. It's ProfitX. I mean, I'm always looking for the best odds. It's kind of like scalping the trades. You know, you don't know exactly when to get in or to get out, but if you want to make instant plays, ProfitX, generally speaking, from every time, we've never seen worse odds.
We've never seen worse odds.
So
at worst, it's been on par and usually better. The one thing I would advise is, and I've noticed this from looking at it, if you're looking from an event out like a day or two away, there's so much more liquidity and better prices like the day of the actual sporting event. Think of it like the trading market, right? Like an earnings play is going to have more volume the day of as opposed to like a week before. It's like anything else, like, or options. Think of it that way. So look, let me get the coin in a second because I see a lot of people mentioning this. Coinbase did get to 240, but before that happened, before it even got there, there was that bottoming tail candle at 250, which was half of the setup we're looking for in UNH, and then the close above the trend line. So it did do that. If it loses 250, I'm out. Would like it to get to VWAP. Coin, similar setup, although not down 10%. Not quite at that 240 level. And Coin's trend line, I mean, it's a harder line of fit from the beginning. You know what? I hate it when it draws a new bar right as you're trying to draw a trend line. It's frustrating because it shifts everything over. If it's not a very clean trend down, I'm looking for the 240 more than anything else on Coinbase. So UNH we're in because it did fit our parameters for that bounce play. And I'd like to see 56 and then 60 would be the levels of interest. What did AMD just do?
I don't know what anything's doing these days.
I looked over and I saw the market bouncing off the volume weighted average price. I figured, okay, well, AMD is going to give an opportunity to fade. I suppose not. AMD's not doing anything. A little bit weird. I looked over. I have an NVIDIA chart up in my black charts, and I see NVIDIA at VWAP. That's starting to look strong. I liked NVIDIA long at 131. That obviously had no chance of coming in today, even with all this weakness. That's a good sign for NVIDIA that it couldn't retest some of those prior lows in all the market weakness that we've had. Got to start thinking about where a long might be in this stock. And if you like trend lines, then they can break in either way. They're not just short opportunities. So NVIDIA breaking above VWAP would be a break of the trend to the upside. Until that happens, I'm still looking for shorts. You know, whether it's AMD or SMCI, reloads in Intel. SMCI is not a VWAP either, so that's not going to be in play. All right. Yeah, we just have to be patient with it. I mean, Intel's still working for us here, but I think I might have my first long that's not an SSR bounce if NVIDIA can close above VWAP here. That's a pretty solid setup. Just close above the volume-weighted average price on a bar, go long, give it to the previous trend line. If it happens. Big if.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen up in here, up on these levels. But the one thing that we do know what's about to happen
is what's for lunch.
Is what's for lunch, man. Is what is for lunch right now. Okay, Adara, you may want to order takeout today. Today. Yeah. It's gochujang glazed chicken with vegetable rice, garlic bok choy, and cucumber kimchi. And I've actually found here something like this. So here it is. It's Korean, some gochujang, apparently pretty spicy. So we'll watch out for some vegetable fried rice, garlic pak choy. There it is right there. Thank you to All Recipes right there. Again, gochujang chicken today, glazed chicken with vegetable fry. I mean, it could be a little sweet and spicy, so we'll see. Hopefully it is good to go on that one. All right, so Google's good to go. HOTTOGO, Google is hot to go right now. So that's a nice little move to the downside here on Google. We did not reload 165 right there, but you know, we'll see how low this one wants to go. I am willing to give it all back on Apple against this 212, but this market is really, you know, back near these highs again. So we have to be careful with what we're doing. I am going to take an offer in the 80s to give me an average price in and around here. And then we'll lose we'll lose 30 cents, I guess, because my average price will be 70s on this Apple trade. But again, like emptied out the clip there on Apple, but now averaging back in. So we could, you know, turn red on Apple on this play. So we have to be careful with that one. Okay, Google making a move back higher. TQ's almost at a reload spot right now. I'm still waiting for that exact same price that we already got, 85s. I want the high of the day. I'm gonna put out a little bit right now, like maybe a quarter of a unit, just because we've been bouncing off this level right there, and right here and earlier, but the bigger trade has to be at a price that we like, because the market is really, it's pretty crappy today, to be honest with you. It's given the shorts a ride, it's given the longs, then the shorts again, then the long, and all it did was top out there twice, bottom out there twice, and now we're looking at another high here. With limited news out, I now feel that the risk is basically in any positions. I think the best position right now may be getting close to being cash, because there's not much going on in the market and you don't want to make stupid mistakes just because you're either bored or whatever. So there it is, man. Apple, there's the reload right now. Now we have our full position. I told you it'd be 211.70. That's exactly what we have. So right now we're out of the money and looking at a 212 break. And if it breaks it, man, we'll throw our hands up and be like, Apple, you win. That it's a long, obviously, there for Apple. It's much more aggressive than the market. Well, it's actually the same as the market right now. Just thought that it would be weaker, and it's not. So Apple, good on you, man. It looks like you want to run the high of the days again. People talking about Foot Locker.
Netflix all-time high.
Netflix all-time high. Neil's trading Foot Locker, so I'm going to leave that alone. Netflix and Adara with news. We only have 1 minute left.
Yeah, I'm going to go through this quickly, but keep an eye on ARM. Semi-Accurate, which is that's the name of the publication. They also released some intel news. They're a little bit iffy with regards to their sources, but Semi-Accurate reporting that ARM's going to be launching their own branded server CPU. Again, this is just a report from a new service called Semi-Accurate, but either way, ARM, to the upside on this report, they're going to be launching their own branded server CPU. Also, just keep an eye on the market. We know we were expecting some potential ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine. Now we're saying apparently they can be delayed until tomorrow. So keep an eye on these geopolitical events as well, because they can and sometimes do move the market, especially if you're trading oil or those type of commodities. Back to you.
Oil. Thank you very much, Adara. Actually, I have not looked at oil once today, but
gas was expensive.
Netflix was at an all-time high. I'll double check in a second to see. We can do it right now. I was about to flip to oil to see what happened. I think we did just wick it with 11.7 there on Netflix. I still haven't trimmed it. I'm gonna. You know what? I'll probably do this. Like right after, go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to sell some Netflix shares in my account. Probably about 10% of Netflix. Nice. I know some people say never sell at an all-time high, but you know baseball been very good to me, so I'm going to sell some of these shares and just try to respect that. UNH just made the stop to 55, like right in here. I always look at where the supply zone was, and the supply zone was 56, I should say, and there's already others trying to exit the trade. So I'm going to move my stop to just underneath this even dollar, just slightly underneath the 55 level, so we can trail out of this. Otherwise, look for the volume-weighted average price. So the volume-weighted average price would be the other exit in front of 260 on UNH. But remember, these ones are trickier. Yes. It's much, much better when you trade this on like a Alibaba or a Tesla when you get an SSR bounce, because it wasn't clean when I tried it over there on DKS, but it's a little bit better here on UNH. It can't do any worse than 50, like 55
Go
for me,
Apple.
but we're looking for 259, 256 here at the volume weighted average price. UNH maybe catching a bid.
Oh my God, Apple is now my #1 stock all of a sudden. There goes Apple right down to the downside. We got a good trade on this one. 212 or so was our top. Let's see where Apple goes. We're leaving you at the high of the day. Man, we're happy, for net wise for myself, we're happy with that one. There goes Apple. Get to the downside here. If we could do that, man, that would be good. We've got some units on board right now on Apple. We've got about 3 units. So let's see if we get a little bit lower. We do get our TQQ short, so we're going to be rolling that one. We're 2 minutes over. You owe me, Sharif. All right. Good job there today. Let's go, man. I got to get over there, do some laps, hopefully come back and see Apple in around 210. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Ciao.
Oh, there's Donald.
Ciao, Dano.
He's on the screen.